Chapter 298. Treatment. Ms. Zhang cried pitifully. My brother's wife is going to give birth soon. How can we support the baby without money? My family isn't as rich as your family, and I did that because I had no choice. How could you not understand my difficulty? Every family has problems. Work hard and you'll get it through. Why doesn't your brother work? Your husband's family have to support your family. Ms. Zhang, you are so stupid. Anyways, that is not my business. You can do whatever you want. Why did you get us involved? I won't let that happen. Just tell your in-laws to stop fooling your eldest uncle. Your eldest uncle doesn't have a decision-making authority in this house. You might as well work hard to earn money instead. Ms. Zhang could not understand it. She cried, but did not dare to hate Ms. Niu. So she started to blame Ms. Fong in the first section for what she did. She hated them so much. She hated it when Ms. Fong gave Ms. Niu the bad idea. Her brother had been physically weak since he was young, and he had never worked before. He would die if he was asked to work. What if he got sick and hurt his body? He was the only son of the Zhang family, and he should be completely fine all the time. His sisters ought to take care of him. Also, she knew that Ms. Niu had much more than 5 Liulang. She had given birth to 2 children for the Xiao family. Why couldn't she get some bonus? How could they treat her like this? The son's wedding gifts and the daughter's dowry could just cancel each other out. When Ms. Zhang left, she ran into Xiao and Dao, who had just picked the wolfberry sprouts and 2 yams and brought them home. She sneered with hostility in her tone. You are so lucky, 5th sister-in-law. You are loved because you have money and you don't need to do anything. Xiao became annoyed. What is she talking about? I did not irritate you. Also, it is you who caused all the problems, isn't it? She had no plans to start an argument with Ms. Zhang regarding this boring topic. So, she went away with Dao. Ms. Zhang felt even worse and glared at her. The day was finally getting hotter. The blue sky was clear, the air was so clean that there was no dust flying, and all the plants and trees seemed to be fresher, greener, and vibrant. Xiao spared some time to visit the floral field and used her superpower to make the flowers and plants grow even more vividly. The flowers would soon bloom in a couple of days. Then, they could continue with the making of lipsticks. After a few days, Shao Yunwan was going to Minghua College, and Xiao wanted to follow along to the town. She was going to sell the remaining filtered honey to Manager Qin, before heading to the agent to buy some more fields at the Zhang village to plant tea leaves trees. Shao Yunwan agreed. After breakfast, they rented a bullock cart and headed out. Xiao Sanlang smiled. 5th brother, I would like to go into the town with Xiao. Should we go together? Yang Xiaoni looked excited and hopeful. Her eyes were sparkling as she looked at Xiao 5th sister-in-law, I have never been to the town. I would like to go and have a look at it. Chapter 299. Random talk. Xiaoqi and Dao also came there and stood. Both of them had been to the town numerous times, but it was bustling there, and they would like to visit again. Xiao smiled at Shao Yunwan. What about all of us going there? Before Shao Yunwan could respond, everybody cheered. Okay, let everyone head there. Great. We promise not to run around. Also, we can talk on the way there to keep everyone entertained. Brother Sanlang, I want to buy some good food to eat. Shao Yunwan smiled helplessly. Okay, let's go. Xiao whispered to him. We should go separately later. We have to visit Zhang village and check out our place. Shao Yunwan nodded. Okay, they had just stepped out when Ms. Zhang came over after finishing the laundry by the riverside. Although what happened the day before disgusted everyone, and they all pretended not to see her, someone said, 2nd sister-in-law. Ms. Zhang showed a sneering look. Is everyone heading to town? Rich people. I wonder how much longer can 5th sister-in-law's dowry last. It basically meant that the first section of the family was using Xiao's dowry and spending her money. Worse, Xiao was cheering them on like a stupid person. Having said the words, Ms. Zhang stood still. Shao Sanlang could not help but respond. 2nd sister-in-law, you are wrong. We are not using 5th sister-in-law's dowry. Yang Xiaoni pursed her lips and supported her husband. True, Shao Yunwan added. Where did you get this idea from? You better not talk like this without evidence. Ms. Zhang sneered. Xiao smiled and felt helpless. Actually, I don't understand Why there are always people who consider me to be a stupid person and worry about my dowry all the time? It doesn't have to be like this. Ms. Zhang felt stuffy in her chest and could not give any response. She felt a bit dumb. Seeing the 2 jars on the cart, she suddenly asked, "What is this?" She reached out to pick up the lid. No one had expected that she would be like this. They were all startled and failed to stop her. Ms. Zhang removed the lid and felt the scent of sweetness coming to her nose. She could not help but swallow down her saliva. Her eyes widened. "This is honey." Ms. Zhang could not hide her happiness. "Where did you get all this honey?" Xiao Sanlang was the one who responded. "Found in the mountains." They were heading into the town with honey. So Ms. Zhang said, "You are selling it in the town." All of them had a weird expression on her face. Why had they not stopped Ms. Zhang earlier? Xiao nodded and said openly, "Yes, it can get us a lot of money when sold in the clinic." Ms. Zhang's teeth clenched, and she glared at Xiao. Xiao Yunduan defended Xiao and said politely, "Anything else you want to say? If not, we are leaving." Ms. Zhang snorted and said nothing more. Shao Sanlang continued walking towards the cart. Second sister-in-law will definitely tell second uncle and second aunt. What should we do now? Xiao Taodao felt quite worried. They exchanged a look among themselves and felt the same. Xiao Xin chuckled. Doesn't matter. Actually, they will sooner or later know about what is going on with our family. But so what? What can they do about? Chapter 300. In town, they were all startled. But Xiao Yunduan smiled. Yes, we are earning money, not stealing or robbing anyone, so we don't have to be afraid of our secret getting revealed. Xiao Xin nodded. Very true. She was just worried about the Qjao family, not the Shao family. They had kept it a secret only because they wanted to avoid some unnecessary trouble. If it was known, it would not matter either. Shao Sanlang and the others felt assured and nodded. Soon, they started to talk cheerfully as well. Xiao Yunduan accompanied them to Mingrentang, said a few words, and then headed to Minghua College. Xiao Xian sold the honey to Manager Qin at the price as before, 71 for half a kilo, and they received 4 to 5 qian for the 30 kilos. They were given 9 qian respectively, excluding Xiao Xian. Ms. Fang had told them that they did not need to hand in this little money anymore and they could keep it. This was not a small amount, and they were all excited as they headed towards the street for shopping. We have decided to buy some snacks. What do you think? Shao Sanlang was actually trying to drive away Xiao Xian and the other 2 followers. He wanted to spend the time alone with his wife so that they could go shopping for food. Xiao Xian nodded and decided to quit as the third wheel. She said, "We will buy some garments. You both can look around." The couple had been waiting for this sentence to come and added, Okay. We could go shopping separately and gather here for lunch. What do you think? What about finding a good restaurant to eat in? The 3 of them nodded. Shao Sanlang told Xiao Xiaoqi to take good care of Tao Dao and 5th sister-in-law. We will buy some meat for tonight and tomorrow. You don't need to buy any. Xiao Xian volunteered to become the chef for tonight. She added, Then buy a piece of pork belly, a pork rib, and 2 elbows. Last time, some rice noodles were left. Half of the pork belly would be made into double-cooked pork. The other half would be steamed. The elbow would be cooked into sweet and sour, and the rest would be served with the spare ribs. The remaining stuff can be eaten tomorrow. Shao Sanlang and the couple could not help but drool. Okay, let's do as 5th sister-in-law says. Then, the 2 teams went their separate ways as per their own shopping plan. Before lunch, they gathered at Mingrentang with many shopping bags. Xiao Xian even got some pastries for Mingrentang and the 2 page boys to eat, so they could place their stuff there for the time being. Manager Qin did not reject them. He received them passionately. The 5 of them went into the restaurant for lunch. Xiao Yunduan was still at the college and did not join them. Yang Xiaoni was at a restaurant for the first time, and she was very excited about it. She believed that the dishes at the restaurant would be very tasty, but Xiao Xian could make equally good ones. After lunch, they went back to Mingrentang and waited. Xiao Yunduan came over and went away with Xiao Xian. It was very easy to buy mountain fields. The agent took them to the Zhang village and spoke with the land officer about it, and the deal was done quickly. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan did not show up in person, but let the agent speak with the land officer, telling him that it was some relatives who were buying. The agent did not figure out why he was supposed to say that, but his mouth remained sealed. He didn't ask about anything even though he was curious. He just cared about the money. Chapter 301. Tea Leaf side also, the agent knew them well, and he knew that they always wanted to stay low profile. The whole thing was settled very fast. Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian bought 2 connected mountains, totaling 500 mu. They spent 2033 Liulang, including all the fees. In this transaction, they had spent half of the earnings gained from Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong. Now, they had only 2,300 Liulang left. Xiao Xian was very satisfied with the land contracts in her hand. She was a young landowner with so many fields in hands. When she built the gardens and filled in some staff, she would have a firm foundation. Honestly speaking, since golden sprouts and lavender were such precious tea leaves, Xiao Xian would not dare to plant them, but for Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong's existence. Otherwise, the plants would be stolen and attract trouble. Money was always very attractive, and profits in this deal would be far and beyond. People might get really greedy for what they could possibly gain. However, right now, they felt well protected. The agent handled the whole thing well. He claimed that a relative was here checking out the locations and decided to buy some land to plant tea leaves and herbs. The land officer of the Zhang village did not suspect a thing. Even if they realized that Xiao Xian owned the land, it was fine. They could just say that they were hired. By the time they were capable enough, the land officer would very much want them to stay and get their villagers hired as the labor. They barely had time to visit Ding Erzhu and Ms. Zhou after they finished with the business. Hence, they stayed over for just a short while. They understood that the couple was doing very well. Xiao Xian liked the Zhou family. She was going to ask the Zhou family for help when the tea garden was set up. If she established a friendship with the Zhou family, she would automatically become friends with Ding Xiang after she made it big in the future. Xiao Xian wondered how Ding Xiang felt when she left. Was she holding a grudge against her parents? Maybe yes, but when she returned, she might still take care of them. They were weak, but they had already been punished. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan returned to the town and joined the others before going back home together. As they went back home, the sun was already going down, and it would soon be dinner time. The summer was coming, and the day was longer. It was still bright when they started to eat dinner. The second section of the family heard about Ms. Zhang's narration regarding the honey. Second uncle and Ms. Niu were very annoyed and complained about the first section of the family for doing business alone. It must have been Shao Xiaoqi who took the whole family to find honey. They should have asked the second section of the family to tag along, since they knew that they were running out of money. The second section of the family could earn some money as well. The honey could be sold at dozens of one for half a kilo. Second section of the family came to eldest uncle about the matter, though they had intended to ignore him earlier. Eldest uncle knew that Shao Xiaoqi and Xiao Xian would visit the mountains to get some mushrooms, bamboo, and wild animals. But he did not know about the honey. So when second uncle talked about this, he was startled as well. He also agreed that she should have taken the other sections of the family along with him. Chapter 302. Waiting, he intended to ask Ms. Fong about this, but as he thought of how Ms. Fong might react, he hesitated. Actually, he did not dare to. He could almost predict that no matter whether Ms. Fong knew about it or not, she would behave the same. He decided to wait until his son and the others returned from the town. However, Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan did their own business at the Zhang village, so they did not return until the evening. They were all talking about what to eat for dinner and decided to make dinner as they came home. Ms. Niu and the others were all waiting for them. The moment they put down their things, second uncle and Ms. Niu came over. "Did you all go sell the honey? Where's the money?" Ms. Niu asked in such a hurry, as if they should share the money with her. She had spotted a wife for her son. She was from a good family who sold tofu. Ms. Niu was very satisfied with her, but they required a lot of wedding gifts. Before Xiao Xian answered, Ms. Fong snapped. "That has nothing to do with you. Elder sister-in-law, it is your fault. You know that we are running short of money. Why did your family not take us along to make some money too? Xiao Xin blinked and said innocently, "It is because we want to make money ourselves. We are, of course, not going to take anyone else with us." Ms. Niu and second uncle. Eldest uncle frowned. "You?" Ms. Xiao. Ms. Fong immediately said, "Okay, Ms. Xiao, Duan, you are both tired. Just go back to your room and don't worry about anything that is unrelated to you." They nodded when they heard her speak. Ms. Fong looked at the second section of the family and said coldly, "Do you not understand what I have been saying all this while? Never mind. I can repeat it a few times. You are not getting any money from us, nor can you get a loan from us. You can come and steal the money, but if you are caught, I will report you all to the governmental office. Don't you ever forget who my daughter-in-law's father is." Second uncle shivered in anger. "Eldest brother, why don't you say something? Eldest sister-in-law, are you cutting us off?" Ms. Fong said calmly, "If you want to do that, I am willing as well." Ms. Niu responded angrily, "Eldest sister-in-law, you are cutting us off." Ms. Fong answered, "Oh, I am done with what I need to say. You can continue to talk. I am off." Ms. Fong turned around and left. Eldest uncle called her, but she pretended not to hear. Second uncle got so furious as he snapped at eldest uncle. "Eldest brother, you are the master of the family. What did our parents say when they passed away? You are living a good life now, but you are throwing us away? We can leave the rest alone, but Xilang needs to get married. The Yin family said that we need to give 20 liang as wedding gifts, or the marriage will not work. Are you so cruel as not to care about this? You offered 20 liang to the Yang family. The Yin family is definitely better than them, right? We need to hold our reputation high and not let Xilang get humiliated." Eldest uncle felt so annoyed. "Don't worry, second brother. I will talk with your elder sister-in-law about this. We must help Xilang." Only then did second uncle and Ms. Niu drop the topic. But they continued to spill out their bitterness and misery, forcing eldest uncle to offer them the money. If the first section of the family gave out the money, that would be great. The moment they left, eldest uncle turned to find Ms. Fong. Chapter 303. Business, but Ms. Fong did not care about eldest uncle's request, now that she had decided to leave the other sections of the family alone. No matter what he said, Ms. Fong did not agree to any of it. Eldest uncle got so irritated that he did not even come out of the room to have dinner. Everyone was quite surprised. Ms. Fong did not care and said coldly, "Don't worry about him. He can starve for all he wants. He would not die after not eating a few meals." The whole family was speechless, but they said nothing when Ms. Fong put it forward so bluntly and firmly. Eldest uncle was really sad. He spent the whole night in misery, but did not dare to meet his brother and his wife. He felt sorry about not living up to his parents' expectations. Second uncle and Ms. Niu were very disappointed. They didn't earn much by the sale of honey. "You think about the wedding gifts, and tell me if you need anything." Second uncle sneered. "What is the point of telling you?" Ms. Zhang added as she was listening. "Eldest uncle, I saw that they had a lot of honey. They would have easily sold it for 20 liang." Eldest uncle gasped and mumbled. He could not get the money even if there was. He could not force Ms. Fong to give him any. "Ivis," Liulang Rurkner said, "E1-esque, Aunt was not 11 ku RMS Duror until sister-in-law came to your family. Everything has changed. She was born in a noble family, and she is very calculative." Ms. Zhang pushed all the grudges to the first section of the family, especially Qjao Xian, who had 26 sets of dowry. Ms. Niu threw a very satisfied look at Ms. Zhang and nodded in agreement. Eldest uncle felt uncomfortable as well. He was not very satisfied with Qjao Xian either, but there was nothing he could do about it. It was out of his reach. When eldest uncle left, Ms. Niu and second uncle complained more amongst themselves. "They're getting so stingy. No wonder they say that money makes people stingy. It is all Ms. Xiao's fault. Yes, they keep saying that we are a family and then behave like this. We should cut them off as well. But what should be done about the wedding gifts?" Second uncle drove Ms. Zhang away when they started to talk about money. He asked Ms. Niu, "Honestly speaking, will we be able to afford the 20 liang wedding gifts?" Ms. Zhang did not go away immediately. Instead, she stood eavesdropping outside the door. Hearing that, she covered her mouth tightly to stop herself from screaming. 20 liang? She got irritated. She had only received 6 liang as a wedding gift. Why should they offer the Yin family 20 liang? That was totally unfair. She was not worse than the girl from the Yin family. She had given birth to the grandchildren of the family. She had been working so hard for the second section of the family, but they treated her like this. She only stole 5 liang from her own family, and her mother-in-law wanted to get it back in such a humiliating manner. Now, they were planning to give the Yin family 20 liang as a wedding gift. Also, Yang Xiani's family received 20 liang as the wedding gift as well. She had been treated the worst. Ms. Zhang could not hear what more Ms. Niu and second uncle talked about. She felt so irritated. Annoyed, she went out and ran into Ms. Su. She decided to hold on to her. Chapter 304. Ms. Zhang's Estrangement. We are both daughters-in-law, and we are suffering from misery. Also, our in-laws prefer someone else. Just think about this. When you got married, you received only 6 liang as a wedding gift, and Yang Xiaoni was paid 20. That is so unfair. You are the eldest daughter-in-law of the family. How can you be treated like this? Ms. Su was startled and her face changed. Although she had been focusing on her own family, she was never on the top. She never thought about this, but for Ms. Zhang's mention of the matter. Seeing her expression, Ms. Zhang felt quite proud and said some more things before she left. But soon Ms. Su brought herself back. She was not quite happy about where she was now, but that was nothing. Yang Xiaoni was not in the same position as she had been at her natal house. Her mother-in-law was forced to spend so much money on the wedding gift, not because she volunteered to do so. Most importantly, she had enough of her own savings now. She had counted it recently. Much to her delight, she had saved more than 100 liang, which belonged to herself alone. Also, she was going to get some more soon. In hindsight, the wedding gifts worth 20 liang were nothing. Also, Yang Xiaoni was a nice person. She seemed quite honest and innocent. She liked her. Ms. Zhang told her this matter deliberately, because she must be planning something bad on the other side. Ms. Zhang was still feeling quite annoyed about the Yin family receiving 20 liang as the wedding gift, even though she had managed to provoke Ms. Su. The more she thought about this, the more distressed she became. She even spent the whole night crying. She wished that the wedding could be canceled. But Ms. Niu already found a matchmaker who could help with the wedding. In the end, the amount for the wedding gifts was still high. Ms. Zhang was really annoyed. They took the money from the shared savings. Ms. Niu was not happy about the money, but she was satisfied about the marriage with the Yin family, and the Yin family said that the dowry would be 8 liang, so she agreed. But Ms. Niu kept complaining about the first section of the family. That had caused all of this. The first section of the family spent 20 liang on the wedding gift for Yang Xiaoni, and that became known to the Yin family, who kept saying that they needed 20 liang as well, since their daughter was not worse than Yang Xiaoni. Ms. Niu kept negotiating, and the Yin family cut the wedding gift to 15 liang finally. Ms. Niu had no choice but to nod in agreement. Seeing that the whole thing was settled, Ms. Zhang got so annoyed that she wished that Ms. Su would make some fuss. But nothing happened. She kept saying that Ms. Su was useless. Shao Siling's marriage was finally settled. The wedding was expected to be held at the new year. Ms. Niu felt very relieved. She went to the first section of the family and showed off. She told Ms. Fong implicitly that they could still get Xilang a good suitor without their help. Same went for Miling. Ms. Fong responded to her calmly. That is good. You have abundant money, and the Yin family have a lot of wealth too. Good marriage. Ms. Niu snorted. Of course it is good. Ms. Fong was not as narrow-minded as they were. She would not want the other sections of the family to live miserably, as long as they did not come to her for trouble. Soon, Yuezheng Xiao's men came to fetch the watermelons. Due to the constant rain, the watermelons went bad and the taste was not as good as before. Xiao Xian reduced the price and charged only 40 liang for both wagons. Chapter 305. To province if audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 305. To Province Yuezheng, Xiao even sent a letter telling them how well the lipsticks were selling, asking her how much longer it would be before the next lot of lipsticks was available. He wanted to get as many as he could. Xiao Xian wasn't surprised about the popularly sold lipsticks. She asked Xiao Yunwan to write a letter back to Yuezheng Shao, telling him that after 20 days or so, they could come to fetch the lipsticks again, which should be around 500 or 600 in total. She further asked him to mention that the tea mountains have been found, and the leaves should be transplanted by the end of this year, around New Year. In autumn next year or so, they would get some amount of tea leaves to be given to him, but he still needed to find a proper processor. Xiao Xin smiled. We will definitely have some amount of tea next year, and the tea trees in the mountains should not be touched, but we can pick some when we go to the mountains next. She had her superpower and could make sure the tea trees lived on after being moved. But the trees had been in the mountains for so many years _D, they didn't need to transplant them. They were born and grew in the mountains, and they might produce better quality leaves there itself. Xiao Yunwan agreed and smiled. Okay, that is good. Should I tell him about the mushrooms? The shiitakes and wooden ears had started to grow very fast. There were not many snow fungus, but were still growing vividly. There were not many wild, growing snow fungus, and Xiao Xian decided not to find any more. She decided to breed some on her own for the moment. She smiled. You can remind him that the purchase should be done by the end of this year. She further added, we would need some more laborers to work on our tea mountains. Uncle Zhu and the Zhou family might not be enough. What about getting some more staff? Xiao Yunwan thought, I don't think we can find any suitable ones in the town. The town was so small, and very few laborers were available. The rich families only hired contractors. In big towns, there were endless business people and rich families who required such staff. There was almost no department to recruit such staff. Some people were working part-time, who worked on occasions. She decided to get someone from the province and pay the middlemen. More importantly, Xiao Yunwan also hoped that their purchase of staff would not be revealed to the Qjao family. So that was another trouble. Not everyone had a tight mouth. Xiao Xin agreed. The town was too small to meet every need. Oh man, she had become so arrogant as to not like the town anymore. Suddenly, Xiao Xin smiled. Darling, what about we travel to the province? You can tell young Master Yuezheng that when he sends someone to fetch the lipsticks, we would like to tag along. It must be bustling in the province, and many more things are available there. Let's see if we can get some appropriate laborers ourselves. You can buy some books as well, and visit the famous colleges in the province and exchange opinions with them. Sounds good? Xiao Yunwan was startled. But after a moment, he was quite motivated. He also sensed that those people at Minghua College were not on the same level as he was. But the province was different. There were always better people outside. Maybe the trip would help him become better? Darling, let's just go there. Xiao Xin tugged his arms and coaxed him happily. You are going there in the future to attend the examination, and we can visit the place first to check it out. Announcement. We are moving box novel. Com to bro novel. Com. Please bookmark our new site. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Chapter 306. Lipsticks again. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 306. Lipsticks again. Xiao Yunwan flushed as he felt her tugging. He got a bit absent-minded, but did not dare to show his reaction, fearing that he would cause embarrassment. He tried to suppress his facial expression. After a moment, he could not help but smile. Xiao Yunwan simply could not turn down any of her requests, especially when she was smiling at him like this. He intended to say that he would think about it, but soon he changed his mind and answered, Okay, we can go there. Okay. Xiao Xian was delighted. Young Master Yuezheng and Young Master Xie must know a lot about the province, and we don't need to worry about troubling them. We can ask them what colleges they know, and we can visit the scholars too. That is the most urgent task. Xiao Yunwan felt so moved as he saw that she was considering him above everything else. He smiled gently. We won't be able to go to the province often, so you can also think about what you need to buy and make a comprehensive list. Xiao Xin smiled and nodded. She also told Xiao Yunwan that maybe they could bring Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taodao along as well. They should go and visit the outside world too. Most importantly, Xiao Xian had made up her mind to train Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao to become her helpers. She was teaching them how to read and wanted them to go out and have a look at the outside world. Shao Yinduan did not object. In this way, he could visit the local scholars and colleges at ease, while Xiao Xian would have someone with her when he was gone. Don't tell the others in the family about it yet. We will inform them when we leave. Shao Yinduan added. Xiao Xian smiled. Of course. They did not want the news to be spread across the village and cause gossip. Also, Shao Samlang and Yang Xiaoni would want to join them as well, and that would trouble them a great deal. Xiao Xian believed that they would have a chance to visit the province again, with everyone in the family, including her mother-in-law. But not right now. When the decision was made, Xiao Xian decided to visit the mountains during the next 2 days to see if there were any expensive herbs to take along, as she would pick some Ganodermas from her space if nothing valuable was found. She decided not to touch what was in the space, in case the magic would disappear. She needed to support the space so that it could upgrade and help her gain some more abilities. The roses were blooming vividly. Red and rosy were the biggest colors with the biggest size. Some pink ones were not so large, but they were many in number. There were some other colors, including apricorn red, orange, purple, and light yellow. Xiao Xian asked for the red and rosy ones to be picked, so each one could be put into different bags in case they got mixed. Actually, if they blended the colors, new colors could be produced. But they needed repeated experiments to find the best colors. That would require a lot of time and energy, which was not something Xiao Xian had currently. When she found the time, she would get Shao Taodao to do that together with her. She planned to get even more abundant colors. After 4 busy days, their work was paused as they waited for another patch of flowers to bloom. Ms. Su and the others were resting at home, whilst Xiao Xian and Qi, as well as Tao Tao, went into the mountains. Announcement. We are moving box novel. Come to Bro Novel. Come. Please bookmark our news site. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much. Chapter 307. Tagging along as expected, Shao Samlang and Yang Xiaoni also wanted to tag along. The group had become much bigger than estimated. However, the second section of the family, for some reason, got to know about their trip to the mountain. They came to them and said to Shao Xiaoqi, Qi, you can take your cousins to the mountains as well. They can be of some help. Ms. Xiao, Ms. Yang, and Tao Dao don't have to be with you guys. Women are always creating trouble in the mountains. Xiao Xian. Shao Zioki's face sank, and he turned to look at Xiao Xian subconsciously. Ms. Fong also frowned involuntarily. They're just having fun in the mountains, not doing anything. What are your sons tagging along for? Eldest sister-in-law, you are so stingy. Why not take my sons to earn some money too? We can find some honey and get some pocket money as well. Eldest uncle added. Qi, just take your second brother and fourth brother with you. They can help. Shao Xiaoqi wasn't pleased after hearing this. He did not want to take them at all, but it looked as if they were going to come along. They would follow them in secret, even if they were not taken along. Xiao Xian said, if you want to tag along, we can go together. But the deal is that we don't promise to get anything. Also, you are older than us, and you need to do some more hard work. Okay then, if anything good comes up, Qi will take the biggest portion, and the rest will be shared among us. Second uncle wasn't pleased after listening to that. Ms. Fong snorted. You don't have to go if you aren't happy about it. Second uncle did not dare to say anything more. All right. Xiao Xian smiled. Let's go. It is getting late. Second uncle added. Ms. Qiao, Ms. Yang, what are you doing by tagging along? You could just stay at home. It is not easy to walk in the mountains. Won't you slow them down? The fewer people there were, the bigger the share would be. He even told his sons to concentrate on how to get the honey and grab it, as well as learn how Shao Xiaoqi got the other things so that they could go there alone in the future. Before Ms. Fong and Ms. Xiao said anything, Shao Xiaoqi said unhappily, if the fifth sister-in-law is coming, I will go. If she stays, I stay too. Second uncle. Xiao Xian became cheerful. Qi, you're a good boy. Shao Xiaoqi smiled bashfully after hearing the compliments. Second uncle got annoyed. What are you saying? Xiaoqi turned his head. You heard what I said. Eldest uncle frowned. Gee, don't be so unruly. Miss Fong chimed in. Forget about the trip today. She said, okay. But Xiao Xiling got anxious. Eldest aunt, don't be angry. Let's all go together, right? Dad, just save your breath. Second uncle. It should not get impulsive and irritate the eldest aunt. In the end, they all headed out. Xiao Yanwan had not planned upon joining them, but seeing what happened, he went along. He needed to protect Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian wanted to try her luck in finding precious medicinal herbs, such as Ganoderma lucidum, or China root, or Solomon's seals. She also wanted to see if she could come across some snow fungus. So, she decided to visit a new area that she had never been to before. The first section of the family were already used to the path, but Xiao Erlang and Xiao Xiling were not. Chapter 308. Walking around the first section of the family were already used to the path, but Xiao Erlang and Xiao Xiling were not. Especially when there was no proper road, they would need to open the path by themselves. Where are we going? They were rural people who grew up in the mountains, but they barely came to this kind of wild place. So, they were not very used to Xiaoqi said. We are just walking around. What? Xiao Erlang's eyes opened wide. Aren't we seeking honey? Xiao Xiling nodded as well. Of course not. Xiaoqi added. We're just taking a walk. What? Xiao Erlang and Xiao Xiling looked at each other and became anxious, especially when they saw how calm the others were. Gee, let's just find some honey. There's so many weeds and vines here, and the road isn't very smooth. Think about your sisters-in-law and sisters. They will trip over or stumble. Yang Xiaoni immediately refuted him. Second cousin, don't be silly. We have been here many times, and we have never fallen or gotten hurt. Xiao Yinduan, honey isn't so easy to find. It depends mainly on luck. Xiao Xian said, yeah, this is what our trip is always like. Darling, look at the mushrooms. Xiao Xian cheered as she pointed at the left side. There were many penny buns there. Those were delicious things, and everyone from the first section of the family looked excited. They got to know quite a lot of varieties of mushrooms, thanks to Xiao Xian. They understood that these penny buns were not only beautiful, but also quite tasty. These were rare things. They were getting precious things early on this day. I will go and pick them. Me too. Qi and Tao went to fetch the mushrooms cheerfully. Xiao Erlang and Xiao Xiling could not help but roll their eyes, thinking that those people were so shallow-sighted. Those are just mushrooms. What were they getting so excited for? Xiao Xiling even added, Brother third and brother fifth, what are you standing here for? We are deep inside a forest, and many snakes have climbed over them before. We can't pick these mushrooms. What if they kill us? Stop it, you. Xiao Sanlang said unhappily. We like eating mushrooms. Yang Xiaoni added. True, you know nothing. Seeing that none of them supported him, Xiao Xiling snorted and said nothing. It would serve them right if any accident happened. In this way, they walked and stopped, got some mushrooms while Xiaoqi caught 2 wild roosters. Xiao Xian got some nice China roots in the pine forest, but after that they got nothing else. Xiao Erlang and Xiao Xiling got quite anxious. They did not recognize China roots and did not know that it was a good thing. They thought that these were just wild plants like yams, nothing interesting. They were only greedy for honey. Gee, where can we find honey? Take us there. Xiaoqi felt speechless. How could they find honey so easily? Most of the time, it was the 5th sister-in-law who helped them find it, but he would not say it out loud. He believed that the 5th sister-in-law was thinking the same as he was. She did not want to take them there. It depends on luck. We are looking for it. Xiaoqi said. Xiao Erlang and Xiao Xiling suspected that Xiaoqi was lying, but they had no proof for that, thus could not counter him. Xiao Xian said, It will be lunchtime soon. Let's take a break and eat something. There is spring water here, and we can continue after eating something first. Chapter 309. Found that everyone agreed with what Xiao Xian said. As it is, Xiao Erlang and his brother's opinions did not matter. They could go about themselves if they were not convinced. Gee, You can divide the work among everyone. There are many yams over there. We can get some and roast one rooster for lunch. Okay, fifth sister-in-law. Hearing that they had one wild rooster to eat for lunch, Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang were delighted. They had not eaten a wild rooster for ages. They had not gotten much from the first section of the family recently, so they could not counter Xiao Xian when she proposed this. Shao Erlang said, I am so tired. What about me roasting the wild rooster, and you can go and find some wood? Brother third, you could do some other work as well. Xiao Xian said straightforwardly, second cousin, Qi is familiar with the mountains, and it depends on him as to what we should do. We agreed on this, right? Qi should do the roasting, and he is really good at it. Everyone from the first section of the family chuckled and nodded in agreement. You're the best chef here, everyone said so inwardly. But they did not say that out loud. After all, they did not want her to cook for people outside the family. Shao Xiaoqi said, second cousin, I can roast the rooster, and fourth cousin goes to find the wood, whilst you and third brother can find yams over there. I and Tao Dao will wash and peel the rooster. Shao Erlang could not counter him, but Shao Xilang asked, what about fifth sister-in-law and fifth brother? Shao Xiaoqi replied with confidence. Fifth brother is cultivated talent, and fifth sister-in-law is a noble lady. They don't need to do anything. Third sister-in-law can help with starting the fire. Yang Xiaoni nodded with a smile. I can do that, no problem. The others agreed. Shao Samlang and Shao Erlang went to get the yams, while Shao Xilang had no choice but to grab the wood. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan were both on the verge of laughing. She was so kind, and he made them feel so warm in their hearts. Xiao Xian smiled at Shao Yunduan. Let's go take a look, see what wild fruits there are. Shao Yunduan followed her into the mountains. Did you find anything? Shao Yunduan asked with a small voice. Startled, Xiao Xian smiled and blinked. You are smart. I just ran into 2 Ganodermas, so let's go and pick them. Let's do that. Soon they found the 2 Ganodermas, which were bigger than the palm of a man. The special scent brought their spirit up. The surface was complete. The color was black blended with purple, straight in the stem, looking quite mystic. How beautiful! Xiao Xian could not help but praise the 2 pieces. She felt like not giving them away. However, these could not be put into space since Shao Yunduan already saw it. Then, they could be given to Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong respectively. The 2 of them picked up the plants and wrapped them up with gauze, as well as a large patch of leaves, putting them carefully into the basket. As for the wild fruits, they saw a few persimmon trees and wild grapes that climbed up the canopy of the tall trees, but they were not yet ripe. They ate something for lunch, took a nap, and then got up. They became quite lazy after lunch, and soon they headed back home. Chapter 310. Superpower in the afternoon. Shao Xiaoqi got 2 roosters and 3 pigeon-sized grouses, nothing more. Seeing the shadow in the forest became larger, they realized that it was time to go back home. Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang got quite anxious. They had their eyes widely opened, seeking honey. But honey wasn't so easy to find, even if they made efforts. On their way home, Xiao Xian found a very special-looking orchid in the forest. Orchids grew nicely in the woods. There were patches of such plants everywhere, which were good to decorate the garden, yet worth not that much money. Xiao Xian could tell directly if any special kind was sprouting within. She pretended as if she were picking the mushrooms. She walked over and picked them up. She found a few more of them and took them all. She placed them in the space without anyone noticing it. Thanks to the superpower, Xiao Xian was not that careful when it came to the dangerous forests. She walked ahead absent-mindedly. Suddenly, she sensed a strong pain on her finger and saw that she had been bitten by a black, large centipede. Her snowy and skinny fingers became swollen, and she was in a lot of pain. Xiao Xian's face changed. She had not yet done anything when she sensed that some electrical life stream was going into her fingers, as if washing away the dirt. Suddenly, the black blood rushed out, and the poison inside her finger went away. A short while later, the swollen part faded away and the pain was suppressed. Only a tiny, narrow red spot of wound was seen, and the stream-like power went all over the body. Xiao looked at her finger in astonishment. She smiled. Good. Her superpower knew exactly what it needed to do. How thoughtful. But she wondered if this function of healing could work on others too. Xiaoxian's heart throbbed. She was so excited. She planned to use it on the chicken, ducks, and geese at home first. If it worked, it would be so wonderful. Soon after, she went back, smiling at her husband. Darling, it is getting late. What about going back home? Shao Yunduan looked at Xiaoxian, wondering if he could figure something different about his wife. Her eyes were sparkling, as if she had run into something cheerful. Was it because they had teased their cousins? Shao Yunduan smiled and found that reasonable. It was the second section of the family who asked for this treatment. Yes, it is getting late. Let's go home. Okay, good, let's go home. For dinner. I all nodded in agreement. Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang were not very convinced, but they understood that it would be very dangerous to wander about when the sunlight went away. So they had to agree in distress. The mushrooms and wild bamboo shoots in the mountains could be seen everywhere. They had enough in their basket on their way home. They had many mushrooms, yams, wild bamboo shoots, as well as roots of kudzu vines. Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang were forced to carry them home too. Chapter 311. Not promised. They were not very happy to do the hard work, but if they did not offer help, the first section of the family might leave them halfway. So, they had no choice but to carry the load and walk on. Back at home, they were given one rooster and some yams, nothing more. Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang were very disappointed. What they wanted was honey, but as they thought about this, they believed that it was because they were not so lucky today. After all, if honey was so easily seen, the first section of the family might have made a fortune already. But thinking that they had a wild rooster for dinner, the two of them still felt quite cheerful when they went home. Gee, are we going tomorrow to find honey? Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang were still quite interested. Shao Xiaoqi turned to look at Xiao Xian subconsciously. Xiao Xian blinked at him and nodded slightly. Shao Xiaoqi smiled. Sure. Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang were excited again. Xiao Taotao asked, Fifth sister-in-law, are we still taking them to the mountains tomorrow? Xiao Xian smiled. We are not going tomorrow. She can take them. They love having fun in the mountains, right? They were so shameless after being taken care of by eldest uncle all these years. They knew no rules. Those who had the way of getting rich depended on their own abilities. No one would just come and demand a share. Why would those who knew how to make money take someone else along for a free ride? Everyone smiled after hearing that. Shao Xiaoqi nodded with a smile. Okay, I will give my two cousins a big tour. Xiao Xian smiled and praised him. Shao Yunduan was going to take the imperial examination, and he needed to keep his reputation intact. Hence, Xiao Xian tried to keep her methods low-profiled when using them upon the other sections of the family. Most of the time, she would make them give up the matter by themselves. Otherwise, they would keep pestering the first section incessantly. The following day, Shao Xiaoqi took the two cousins into the mountains again. Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang were both quite cheerful. They believed that when they found the honey, they could get a big portion. Shao Xiaoqi was just a young boy who was very easy to deal with. Shao Xiaoqi went into the mountains and traveled around easily. He intended to make them suffer by taking them up into the high mountains, weed-filled forests, so that the two cousins got really tired. They failed to find the honey after one whole day of roaming around. In fact, they ran into some wild bees. Shao Xiaoqi dashed off, and the two cousins did the same too. By evening, they got very distressed as they came home. But Shao Xiaoqi was quite motivated and asked, Are you coming tomorrow? Shao Erlang and Shao Xilang looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Still, can we find honey tomorrow? Shao Xiaoqi burst out in laughter. I can't promise that. Then they were not going. Shao Xilang asked him in return. It is so strange. Why can we not find it? Shao Xiaoqi pursed his lips. If it were so easy to find, we would have made a fortune by now. Chapter 312. Purposeful they had actually already made a fortune because of their fifth sister-in-law's guidance. Moreover, they were going to build a large house by the end of this year. Xiao Erlang and Shao Xilang were mute suddenly. Just drop it. Xiao Erlang felt a bit scared as he thought of what they had experienced today. We are not going tomorrow. He was not going there anymore. It was too exhausting. Also, there was no guarantee that they could find the honey anyway. Who had the time to travel about in the mountains? Xiao Xiaoqi smiled inwardly, but showed a very disappointed look on his face. All right, then, Ms. Zhang and Ms. Niu were both very disappointed as the two of them reached home. Still nothing. Xiao Erlang and Shao Xilang were simply too tired to talk. How could it be so easy? The two of them fell asleep as soon as they reached their place. Ms. Zhang pursed her lips. I think the first section did it on purpose. How could they find so much honey whilst Erlang and fourth brother found nothing? I saw they had so many jars of honey. Annoyed, Ms. Niu intended to ask Ms. Fong about this, but then she thought of how Ms. Fong would react. Reluctantly, she gave up the idea of confrontation. She might get mocked by Ms. Fong if she went up to argue with her. That is honey. My sons can go and look for it themselves. They are sure to find a mess. Zhang looked down at her mother-in-law, who was too timid to interrogate the first section of the family. She could not stand it any longer. She went to the first section of the family and finally ran into Qjao Xian and Tao Tao, who had been picking vegetables in the field after she waited for a long while. Ms. Zhang went up and said sarcastically, Fifth sister-in-law, you must have done that on purpose, right? How can you be so stingy? You know that we don't have much money. Still, you don't want to help us make money. Eldest uncle and eldest aunt were not like this earlier. But since the moment you came here, everything changed. You are trying to estrange us. Aren't you afraid of being blamed by our ancestors? Xiao Taodao got really annoyed. Stop it. You can talk with my parents about this, not my fifth sister-in-law. Ms. Zhang became angrier as she sneered. Taodao, you have become bolder too. You. Xiao Xian patted her arm and smiled. Tao Tao is confident, beautiful, and bold. Now no one can bully her. Also, whether you have money or not has nothing to do with me, second sister-in-law. Your thinking is wrong. As for the honey, you can go and seek it yourself. That is the same mountain we go to. No one is stopping you. It all depends on luck. We also can't find it every time we are there. As for your accusation that I am creating a rift in the family, why didn't I know that? What about telling me in detail? Is it because we refused to work for you for free and did not offer you free money? Hence you're saying this? You know that it doesn't make any sense, right? Ms. Zhang shivered and stammered. You don't lack money. You just don't know how hard it is to be poor. You can help us. Why not do it? You talk big, but the truth is that you are so selfish. Xiao Xian felt shocked. Was this what Ms. Zhang was thinking? So were the other sections of the family, right? Chapter 313. Into Province Xiao Xian said, It is never easy to make money, and you can't simply have others do everything for you. Let me tell you, we are getting richer, but you're never going to get a penny out of our wealth. Only if you work hard and earn every penny one by one will you have a chance. But if you don't work hard and hope to get everything for free, you will get nothing. Ms. Zhang looked at Qjao Xian with hatred. She did not take in anything Qjao Xian said. It seemed that Ms. Zhang was the most extreme one from the second section of the family. That was so unexpected. Qjao Xian found her annoying, but also pitiful. That was because her parents had taught her something against morality. But this matter had nothing to do with her. It was all her family's business. Before Ms. Zhang could say anything, Qjao Xian left with Xiao Taodao. Xiao Taodao whispered, Fifth sister-in-law, second sister-in-law looks so scary. How did she become like this? She was not like this before. Xiao Xian shook her head. I don't know. She only focuses on her brother and is probably stimulated by what happened last time. Xiao Taodao could not understand it and said, But she is married now, and even if she wants to help her own family, she can't just steal her mother-in-law's money, right? Xiao Xian smiled. She knows nothing. We can't become like her. We should stay away from her. Xiao Taodao understood this point very well. After a few days, Yuezheng Xiao's men came to fetch the last batch of watermelons. The good weather had saved the watermelons. They were large and refined on the surface, with a layer of smoothness. The shells sounded crisp upon knocking. They seemed to be wonderful watermelons. The men from the Yuezheng family were surprised and glad to receive such good watermelons in the last batch. Qjao gave them a dozen more, and the rest were kept at home. She planned to plant some more with the seeds she kept back. Ms. Su intended to take some seeds to her own family, and she approved of it. She could give some spare ones to the others who needed it. Qjao and Shao Yunduan proposed that they wanted to visit the province. The coachman and page boy of the Yuezheng family nodded without hesitation. They were in a good relationship, and they were welcome anytime. Xiao decided to bring the 600 lipsticks along, and Yuezheng Shao did not need to send anyone else over to fetch them. She even had hundreds of mint-smelling lip balms ready with her. Shao Yunduan and Xiao talked with the family about this, seeing that the Yuezheng family had sent their men over to fetch the watermelons. Miss Fong did not stop them. Her son needed to check the place ahead of time to learn about the imperial examination, so that he could be more prepared. Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao were very happy that they could tag along. Ms. Fong felt even more assured when they had company, so she approved of that proposal too. That is the province. There are so many things over there. I want to visit the place too. Xiao Sanling felt so jealous and looked at Shao Yunduan with a look of begging. Yang Xiaoni nodded excitedly. She wanted to tag along as well. Before Shao Yunduan said anything, Miss Fong hit Xiao Sanling on his head. Drop this idea. You should stay at home and get the wood. We will be so busy during the harvest season that we won't have time to get enough firewood. You can help us chop more wood. Tao Tao and Ms. Qjao can keep each other company, and she can run errands for your fifth brother. You will be superfluous there. Chapter 314. Examination. Shao Sanlang scratched his head and sadly gave up. They all laughed. Shao Xiaoqi said, "Don't worry, brother. I will bring a lot of good food to you to only." Then did Shao Sanlang feel better and said happily, "Don't forget about it. Just buy me as much good food as possible. I will try them all. I will give you money." Shao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni were so generous now that they had some money. They had already eaten almost everything available in the town. Miss Fong glared at them upon hearing that. "Hey, you should know how to save money. I know that it's your personal money, but you need to keep some saved for tough times. We have a long way to go. Don't get greedy. You are married now. Think about the long term." Shao Sanling did not care, but mumbled, "We make money because we need to spend it. We can make some more when we don't have any." Miss Fong snapped. "Didn't you hear what I just told you?" Yes, Mom." Shao Sanling got startled and answered almost instinctively. Miss Fong asked him sternly, "You haven't spent much, right?" Shao Sanling felt a bit guilty as he stammered, No. Shao Xiaoqi, Qjao and Tao Dao exchanged a smiling look amongst themselves. How much Shao Sanling and his wife spent was unknown to Ms. Fong and eldest uncle, but the others knew it well. They had easily bought 2 or 3 Liulang snacks from the town. Ms. Su was so concerned about their expenditure and always complained about them spending too much to her husband. Xiao Dalong also found her words reasonable and talked to Shao Sanlang about saving some money. Shao Sanlang nodded, yet still continued with his behavior. Miss Fong suspected his breezy words. "Really? Come here." Miss Fong pinched Shao Sanlang's ears. "Show me your savings. I want to take your money. I have more than you have. I just want to check it." Shao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni turned pale. "You don't have to bother, Mom." "Yes, Mom, you don't bother." The more they behaved like this, the more skeptical Ms. Fong was. "No, take me there." Qjao and the others left the place quietly. Something was going to happen soon, and they needed to escape. Sure enough, the couple had to let Ms. Fong check their money and was scolded badly. Ms. Fong ordered them to give her half of what they earned so she could save it for them. Shao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni did not dare to counter her words. On the day when the men from the Yuezheng family came over, they packed the watermelons and went onto the wagon together. Qjao and the others rented another wagon when they reached the town, since the wagon had many watermelons on it already. The two wagons went forward together. They could reach the province by the evening, since they started early. They were all excited, including Qjao, who came out for a long-distance trip for the first time. She lifted the drapery and checked around. Everything was so new for her. Most importantly, they had the Yuezheng family with them, and they were completely safe. They stopped for lunch at a restaurant in the town and soon moved on. Chapter 3:15. Province Translator. Alini translations. The road was quite smooth, but still the wagons shook and were not so comfortable. Yet the gang of young people laughed and talked on the way, feeling both satisfied and excited. By the evening, the sun had set, and they eventually approached the province. The road became wider and flatter, and more pedestrians and wagons appeared on it. Many wagons looked quite magnificent. These are not something seen in the town. Before they reached the center, they had already sensed how bustling the environment would be. As the wagon finally reached the center, it became even more crowded. Wagons were noisy, and the wide and straight streets were lined with various shops. Everything looked tall and luxurious, dazzling and overwhelming. This is the province. The real, bustling province. Yes, this is what a province is like, much better than the county. Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao could not help but feel amazed. Qjao smiled. Let's find a hotel to stay in. We will have enough time to have. Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao nodded. They were looking forward to it. Shao Yunduan waved goodbye to the two servants from the Yuezheng family and told them that they would visit them the next day. The two servants nodded and told them where they should find accommodation and did not leave until they told the coachman how to reach there. The four of them asked for the best rooms next to each other. Qjao and Shao Taodao shared one while Shao Yunduan and his brother shared the other. They were keeping each other company when they were traveling outside. They were all quite tired from the day's trip. They did not go out for dinner, but remained in the hall of the hotel and ate some simple food. The province was more than bustling. There were various dishes with high prices. The four of them ordered 4 local special dishes, as well as 1 soup, which tasted great. Especially the dish, which consisted of sweet and sour fish. The sweet and sour sauce was very well adjusted, and the taste was moderate, as it was poured on the fish. The white and tender fish was soaked in the juice, the sweet and sour taste was tangy, and it made people feel like devouring it. After dinner, the day fell, yet it was still quite lively on the street. The stores on both sides of the streets had lanterns lit up, and the light shone through. Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao had never seen such a busy city under the moon, so they really wanted to have a look around. Shao Yunduan did not dare to release them, so he said, "We can go back to the room for a break. When we ask more about where we can go, we will explore the place." Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao agreed. However, they had just returned to the room when Yuezheng Shao came with his 2 servants, namely Chu Shan and Chu Shi. Shao Yunduan and Qjao were surprised. They felt that they had been given a lot of respect. Yuezheng Shao really treated them as good friends, otherwise he would not have come over. The 3 of them were seated in the elegant room in the hotel and chatted happily. When Yuezheng Shao asked Shao Yunduan their purpose of being here, Shao Yunduan confessed to him honestly. "Brother Shao, your idea sounds wonderful. You should definitely come over to have a look around. I will ask and see who can be your best communicator, and we'll tell you about it soon. Sounds okay?" The Yuezheng family knew a lot about the province, thus could go around very easily. Shao Yunduan did not turn him down, but smiled with a greeting. "That sounds great. Thank you, Brother Yuezheng." Yuezheng Shao waved his hands. "Don't mention it, Brother Shao." Later, Yuezheng Shao spoke with the couple about how popular lipsticks were. He was so excited while telling them about it. Chapter 3:16. Meeting lipsticks had become the absolute favorite of young ladies and madams in the province. They were so proud of being able to get each color. Yuezheng Shao did not put the lipsticks into the market in bulk, so the ladies and madams were even more eager to buy them. The news had spread to the neighboring cities as well. Some young ladies and madams even asked their housekeepers to stand in queue just to buy them first, or ask their locally residing relatives to purchase some for them. His cosmetic stores were selling many things due to which they had earned a great deal. Yuezheng Xiao had decided to set the price at 5 liang for each. After deducting the cost, he could earn 2 liang for one, which was already enough for him. After all, the lipsticks could be sold out no matter how many there were on the shelf. Due to this single item, the store had earned tens of thousands of liang a month. In addition, the powder, blushers, and all helped him earn even more. That was just one small store. But the lipsticks became far more popular than he had expected, so he raised the cost by 2 liang for each, so one lipstick costed 7 liang then onwards. He had intended to raise 5 qian for the ones Qjao Xian brought with her this time. Qjao Xian had brought some new colors on this trip, which interested Yuezheng Xiao even more. Qjao Xian took them out and showed them to him, whilst making an explanation about it. Yuezheng Xiao bought all the lipsticks and lip balms she had with her this time. He could not help but say emotionally, "The lipsticks are sold out so easily. Brother Shao and sister-in-law, give me as many as you can." My elder brother was here a few days ago, and he was interested in the lipsticks as well. If they can be sold outside the province, we will definitely expand our business. I look forward to seeing a big business growing out of this. Xiao Xian was quite glad as well. She exchanged a look with Shao Yunduan and said gently, "Of course we will, but not right now. Young Master Yuezheng, thanks for your understanding." "Of course I understand." Yuezheng Xiao smiled. "We can always wait for big business." Although they did have some stock, he said to the public that the lipsticks were not so easily made, so the production could not be raised. That was why everyone was waiting expectantly. In the province, the Yuezheng family was the top in the business area, so no one dared to set them up, nor was there anyone who dared to suppress them. Also, he was prepared to get Jingrong involved in it by giving him 20% of the shares. Due to the existence of the young master of the Xie family, no one would dare to touch this business. Soon Yuezheng Xiao waved them goodbye. He told them that he was going to open a huge banquet for them, and they would come with a wagon. Jingrong would be asked to join them, so they could save time instead of going to visit them at the door. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan were both smart people, so they nodded and saw them off politely. When the waiter was cleaning up, Shao Yunduan gave him 2 qian and asked him more about the Yuezheng family. Those who worked at the restaurant were always up to date with the gossip. The waiter, who received money and liked talking, started to say it all out. The couple were not surprised to hear that there was chaos in the Yuezheng family, which was noble and big. The waiter might not be telling the entire truth, but the big picture was definitely right. Chapter 317. Unexpected guest. No wonder Yuezheng Xiao told them not to pay a visit to his house. It seemed that the second section of the family was quite tricky too. It would be annoying if they were discovered. The following morning, the 4 of them did not eat breakfast at the hotel, but learned from the waiter that they could find some local snacks on the street. The waiter, who had shared the information and got the bonus from them, felt much closer to them. He answered their questions and acted really passionately. There were all kinds of snacks on the street, and you could see different varieties of food there. There were various kinds of soup noodles, porridge, sugar cakes, rice cakes, plum cakes, steamed buns with various fillings, biscuits, burritos, etc. The 4 people bought a lot of them. Even though the quantity was not much, they were already very full after roaming around one street. It was a bustling place, filled with liveliness and stuff. Qjao Xian paid enough attention and found that there were no sugar water stores. If she could open some sugar water stores, maybe a chain of them, she could earn a great deal. She could make some simple ones, such as kelp and mung bean paste, sour plum soup, jelly pudding, taro ball sago, red bean sago, bean curd, various new fruits and jelly, sago, lily, peanuts, lotus seeds, milk, and other combinations. These all had unique tastes. But the sugar water snacks could be copied very easily. If they wanted to do well, they would need to make sure that it tastes well. Also, multiple stores would need to be opened at one go, so that the money could roll in. Otherwise, people would soon copy and take a chunk of their profits. One store would guarantee their livelihood. But Qjao Xian was not satisfied by just opening one store. She bore this idea in her mind and decided to do it in the future. She could do some preparations now, like she could ask the Yuezheng family to look for the sources of sago. At lunchtime, the wagon from the Yuezheng family came to pick them up. Zhao Xian took along the Ganoderma and China root, which she had brought along as greeting gifts for Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong as well. They did not carry the lipsticks with them, because Yuezheng Shao would come to fetch them later, and they could talk about tea leaves at that time. The Yuezheng family had a restaurant in the city, and it was very lively there. But Yuezheng Shao did not take them there. Instead, they found a private room at the restaurant, which was quite a famous eatery. He ordered the most popular dishes, such as cherry meat, 3 sets of duck, and Wensi tofu. When Chu Shan brought the guests over, Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong were already there. They greeted each other politely. Shao Yunwan gave them the presents, and Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong thanked them and accepted them. Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao had met them before, so they felt much more open despite being a little shy. Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong were very friendly young masters. Jingrong looked distant, but Yuezheng Shao was open-minded. It was a lively lunch hour. They exchanged some thoughts about the local cultures, and Yuezheng Shao asked the page boy to inform the waiters. But before the dishes could be served, an unexpected guest arrived there. It was Yuezheng Ting and her maid Zhang who walked in. She spotted Jingrong and smiled even more brightly. She went up and greeted them politely. Then she turned to Yuezheng Shao. "I was just standing in line for the pastry when I saw your wagon. You are here, third brother." Chapter 318. Thoughts. Yuezheng Ting was Yuezheng Shao's cousin, the youngest daughter of the second section of the family. The two sections of the family were not on good terms with each other. Although Yuezheng Ting was just a girl, Yuezheng Shao did not think that she knew much. The first section of the family did not have any daughters, and the daughters of the second section of the family were born by his second aunt, Ms. Mi. The two girls loved to behave well in front of grandmother, especially Yuezheng Ting, who knew how to make her grandmother happy. Hence, their grandmother liked the second section of the family more and more. Therefore, Yuezheng Shao tried not to get too close to this cousin of his. He disliked her even more when he discovered that this cousin loved to follow him just to get close to Jingrong. It seemed that his grandmother, second aunt, and second uncle understood that the girl was not a match for the lineal grandson of the CF family, so they did not say a thing on the surface. But he did not think that Yuezheng Ting's parents were not aware of what their daughter was planning. They were just pretending not to know or see. They were hoping for a miracle. If Jingrong fell for Yuezheng Ting, the whole thing would fall in place naturally. Even if Jingrong did not fall for her, Yuezheng Ting's name would not be ruined because she had her cousin as a shield. It was not easy to see if Yuezheng Ting was here on purpose. She sounded harmlessly nice when she claimed that she was here buying things for her grandmother. Yuezheng Shao could not drive her away, so he smiled. "What a coincidence! Have you eaten lunch? You can join us if you haven't." Yuezheng Ting chuckled and smiled with her eyes blinking. Well, I was gonna go back home for lunch. Sorry to trouble you." Yuezheng Shao smiled and introduced Shao Yunwan and his family to Yuezheng Ting. Yuezheng Ting could see that Xiao Xian was plainly dressed, but she had never seen them before. She was curious and greeted them politely. Then she saw Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao, who seemed too timid to raise their heads. Yuezheng Ting sneered inwardly, but showed no look on her face. She just ignored them and smiled at Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong. They talked about the good things they knew, their orchids, banquets, and all. She tried to cater to Jingrong. Jingrong was not very talkative, but he did not pretend to be distant. Before Yuezheng Ting came, he and Shao Yunwan were having a good conversation, but he fell into silence when Yuezheng Ting came over. Unless Yuezheng Ting asked him of her own accord, he would not respond to a thing of his own accord. Yuezheng Ting had not yet managed to see her third brother and Jingrong together for a long time, and on this rare occasion, she believed that Jingrong would stay more patient and talk more. But Jingrong was so annoyed, and so was Yuezheng Shao. What a shameless person! Xiao Xian and Shao Yunwan had sensed the hidden trouble between them. They exchanged a look and fell helpless. Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong had to let the show go on. So they needed to finish the whole meal from beginning to the end. Xiao Xian could sense that Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao were nervous. She smiled at Shao Xiaoqi and patted Shao Taotao's hands, saying with a smile, "Let's eat. The dishes are expensive. Don't waste them." Chapter 319. Contempt. Shao Taodao burst in a chuckle spontaneously, hearing what Xiao Xian said. She felt more relaxed as well. She nodded at Xiao Xian and answered with a small okay. The two girls did not make a big move of it, but Yuezheng happened to see that. Yuezheng not only needed to pretend that she were elegant, but also try to find some topics to start the conversation. The whole thing was very tiring. Moreover, Jingrong seemed quite uninterested and did not seem to have any intention of speaking with her. To top it, her third brother disliked her even more. That made Yuezheng feel rather annoyed. It was quite embarrassing as well. Since Jingrong did not want to speak with her, and she could not continue to pester him, she glanced at Xiao Xian and Shao Taodao. "Mrs. Xiao, you are on a good term with Ms. Xiao. Where are you from? I have never seen you before." Xiao Xian smiled. "We're just running some small business outside the city. It is quite normal that you have never seen us before, Lady Yuezheng." Yuezheng chuckled and threw a look at Yuezheng Xiao. "You are demeaning yourself, Mrs. Xiao. My third brother is a very picky person. Ordinary business people do not impress him, let alone be his friends." Yuezheng felt increasingly confused. Her third brother was a very picky person, and only a few people had managed to become his friends. If Xiao Yunwan were alone here, she might have understood what happened. But Xiao Xian was a woman, and she was here with her brother-in-law and sister-in-law. It looked so strange. How important did her third brother consider the whole family to be? He was treating the whole family to such a huge lunch. Xiao Xian continued making up some stories. At the same time, she showed a surprised look. "That is really nice of young Master Yuezheng. Well, when young Master Yuezheng passed by our village, it happened to be raining very heavily. So he sought shelter under our roof and had a wonderful chat with my husband. We came to the town today and ran into them again. So Yuezheng Xiao let out a sigh of relief upon hearing what Xiao Xian said. He immediately reacted. "Mrs. Xiao, you are very friendly. You treated us well the other day, and now it is my turn." Yuezheng smiled and nodded, losing the interest of speaking with them anymore. She understood that this family did not seem to have the chance of becoming her third brother's friends. Well, they were just being polite with each other. The long lunch was finally finished, and Xiao Yunwan waved them goodbye, leaving with Xiao Xian and his brother and sister. Yuezheng Xiao did not have a very happy and easy family either. Yuezheng Xiao lowered his head slightly in an apologetic way and did not get up to walk them out. They had just left when Yuezheng Xiao said to Yuezheng, "You can go home now. I and Brother Xie have other affairs to deal with." Yuezheng smiled bashfully. "Third brother, where are you going? Take me along too." It was okay for women and men to go out together with family accompanying them. But Yuezheng Xiao did not have any interest in taking her along. He smiled and said, "Girls should not go where we are going." Yuezheng got startled and her face reddened. She could not insist upon following along. So she had to pretend as if she knew nothing and smiled. I will go home first. I am leaving now." Having said that, she left with her maid. Yuezheng Xiao let out a sigh of relief and smiled at Jingrong. "Honestly, Brother Xie, when are you getting married? Don't be so picky. Just get engaged and marry as soon as possible." Chapter 320. Too kind. As long as Jingrong was engaged, Yuezheng would leave him alone. She was just too annoying. Jingrong showed a weak smile. "I can't lose my whole life for this tiny nuisance, right?" Yuezheng Xiao laughed. Then he sighed. It was so annoying that someone just had no idea how they should behave. In the wagon, Yuezheng's face sank. Zhang said angrily, "Third young master behaves way over the top. How can he say such a thing in front of you? Let's tell Madame Yuezheng about this, so he can be punished." Irritated, Yuezheng snapped at her. All right, What's the point of telling Grandma about this? Grandma would just tell him not to do that, and that was it. She did not want to look more irritating in his eyes. You're simply too kind, miss. Zhang mumbled. But why is third young master not helping you? Isn't that a good thing for the Yuezheng family after all? Yuezheng Ting bit her lips and said nothing more. That was exactly what she was thinking. It would be a good thing for the whole family. But her third brother was not helping her and also pretending not to know a thing. That was so disgusting. She was growing older and older and would need to get engaged to someone else after a couple of more years if she didn't manage to get the man she wanted. But she was not convinced. Which other family had a better groom than the lineal grandson of the CF family in the whole province? It would be such an honor if she could marry Jingrong. Everyone was going to be jealous of her. More importantly, she had the chance to make it happen. Her third brother and Jingrong were good friends. As long as he helped, she would have at least 80%, if not 100% chance to get him. She really fancied Jingrong personally as well, keeping aside his background. Jingrong was such a handsome man that was attractive to everyone. Yuezheng Ting felt so annoyed. She decided to think of a better way to make this happen. Yuezheng Ting was just thinking when she heard Zhang speak. Look at that. Isn't that young master Shao and his family? It was cloudy today, not very hot, and Xiao Xian and the other three walked back to the hotel, strolling along the street. Yuezheng Ting cast an arrogant look at her and rolled her eyes. She had no interest in looking at them. Jing sneered. Poverty. They could not even afford to ride in wagons. In the afternoon, Yuezheng, Shao, and Jingrong visited the hotel again and exchanged business matters with Xiao Xian. They also talked about the tea leaves. They were quite confident about the future. As for the colleges and the scholars whom Shao Yunduan would like to visit, the Xie family knew it all. Jingrong gave him the advice and even expressed that he would send a page boy to tag along. With Jingrong's page boy around, he would remind Shao Yunduan and help him reach the right people. In the process, he would not become a target for people to get jealous about or attract too much attention. If Jingrong went there with him, Shao Yunduan might be the topic of gossip among the scholars in the whole province. This seemed to be a proper arrangement. Shao Yunduan thanked him politely. Xiao Xian was quite glad. Jingrong was such a friendly and considerate person. Jingrong also expressed that he would treat them for another meal after a few days. After speaking with them for a while, the two friends left together. Chapter 321. Gifts. The two of them returned home and opened the presents given by Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan respectively. Both of them were shocked. China roots were of excellent quality, very difficult to obtain, though not so difficult for them. But Ganoderma was really rare. It was bigger than a man's open hand, thick and well-patterned, black in color and flawless. It emitted an attractive herbal smell. What they did not know was that Xiao Xian had put the plant in space for a few days and used her superpower to make it better, so it was far better than the ordinary kinds. These were indeed precious things. Each of them should be worth more than 2,000 liang and could not be bought easily. They both believed that Shao Yunduan and his family did not buy them and must have found them in the mountains. They should know that this plant was very precious, but they gave them away as presents. What precious gifts! Brother Shao and his family are so generous. It is wonderful. Yuezheng Shao ordered Chushan to wrap up the plants and deliver them to his mother in the outskirts area. His father was still sick and the plants were good for health. They should come in handy. At the Xie mansion, Jingrong was so shocked when seeing the presents. He promptly had them delivered to his grandmother. Madame Xie was so happy that she kept smiling. You all say that I adore Jingrong more, but look at how much he loves me. He found me the best Chinese fleece flower root, and now this. These two are really rarely seen herbs. Jingrong must have spent a lot of effort to find them. I adore him deeply, and no one should crib about it. People present there smiled and spoke highly of Jingrong. Jingrong's cousins got so jealous but stayed mum. They had tried to find Chinese fleece flower root, but couldn't find it. They had offered some rare plants to the grandmother, but never found such a great-looking one before. It was just Jingrong's luck. Jingrong's page boy kept Shao Yunduan company at the academic events, while Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taodao, as well as Xiao Xian, rented a wagon and traveled around the province every day. Xiao Xian had asked Xiao Xiaoqi to accompany Xiao Yinduan, but Xiao Yinduan turned that idea down. He insisted that Xiao Xiaoqi should keep Xiao Xian and Taodao company. He did not think that two girls should travel alone in the town. They were friends with Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong, but the two of them were far away. Xiao Xiaoqi was a man, and he should be of some help in case of any emergency. He also gave the coachman a lot of money, telling him to pay more attention to them, and he would receive an extra bonus for it in the future. The coachman felt quite happy and agreed. Xiao Xian loved traveling. She made a specific plan and went about with Xiao Xiaoqi and Taodao for shopping and food tasting. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taodao got so excited and obeyed Xiao Xian's order dutifully. They visited many places of interest before it turned hot and returned to the town at lunchtime to eat at a recommended old restaurant. Chapter 322. Shopping. They took a nap at the hotel, and at 4 in the afternoon, they went to a few stores and some other leisure places before joining Xiao Yinduan for dinner. Xiao Yinduan felt quite jealous after hearing Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taodao's talks regarding where they had been and what they ate, bought, and saw in the morning. He threw a quick look at Xiao Xian. He had not yet spent much qualitative time with her outside. He needed to find a good time to walk with her. After a couple of days of shopping, Xiao Xian bought quite a lot of things which were not easily seen in the town, like clothes materials, embroidery threads, blushers, silk flowers, small, beautiful jewelry, various seasonings, and dry food ingredients. Province and town were different. Xiao Xian was very happy to see sun-dried shrimps, abalones, sea cucumbers, hairtails, conches, sea scallops, and yellow croakers. She bought a lot of each kind. She would buy the snacks and long-lasting pastry one day before they returned home. She even visited the pharmacies, trying to see if she could get any fresh ginseng. But unfortunately, she could not find any. Good ginsengs were rare, but all were processed, not originally growing. Xiao Xian had to give up finding fresh ones. She was very interested in plants, fruit trees, and expensive flowers and woods, so she spent some time there too. It was not the best time to plant flowers, so there were not many available except for some pots. Xiao Xian did not need any of those. She went to visit some florists and check their flower gardens, but none was good enough for the space. Finally, she bought some plum trees, different kinds of grapes, and peach trees. She was going to pick them up one day before they went home. The fruits of these could be eaten in the next year. After a few days in a row, Xiao Yinduan had visited the places he needed to and met those whom he had to meet. He had obtained much knowledge and was more confident about the imperial examination next year. The following day, Jingrong asked them to visit him at the side mansion, and they decided to leave after 2 days. After dinner, the day turned dark, and Xiao Yinduan asked Xiao Xian, "What about taking a walk around? Just nearby." There was a river passing through the city nearby. Willows and peach trees were planted along the riverside. The area along the riverside was also a famous local food street. There were countless shops, large and small, lively at night. Especially in summer, many catering shops liked to put long tables and stools on the wide venue at the entrance. There were countless diners, and the restaurant was spacious and cool. The fragrance was permeating, which was particularly appealing. In the past few days, they had visited a lot of places during the day. At night, after dinner, everyone had no energy to go out again. Therefore, though they knew about such a place and yearned for it, they didn't visit it. Now, they wanted to have a last walk around the area. Xiao Xian was quite interested in seeing the night town in the ancient city. So she said, "Okay, I heard that it is very lively along the river." Xiao Yinduan nodded and looked gentle. "Let's go. What about fetching Tao Tao and Shi?" "Well," Xiao Yinduan sounded indifferent. "They're already there." He had already looked into it and believed that it was very safe with many people there. He instructed Shi and Taodao not to stay close to the small alleyway or come home too late, thus letting them go alone. Chapter 323. Hand in hand, both of them were so happy and went out ages ago. They just could not wait to walk around at night. Xiao smiled. They were nagging about this, and they could not wait. Let's go as well. Okay. Qi and Tao Dao were not too young anymore, and Xiao was not very worried about their safety. Most people in the world were trying to live in peace. There were not so many bad guys around. They walked shoulder to shoulder and moved forward with crowd. The lights of the stores were on as they walked along the street. The lights were sparkling like stars. Under the light, people were moving about, laughing and chatting with each other. In the summer night, the wind blew from the riverbank, bringing the coolness and the aroma of various food stalls, which made people feel the warmth in this world. When the two of them came to the long riverside street, the excitement and hustle and bustle seemed to be doubled. There were people tasting delicious food everywhere. Various shops or stalls were blazing with fire, and the sounds of frying, boiling, and steaming were endless. The aromas of various foods were stimulated and collided with each other, and the fragrance was particularly attractive. In addition, there were many shops selling various kinds of cakes, candied fruit, roasted seeds and nuts, sugarman, candied haws, and more, which made the street lively and bustling. Xiao was shocked. She had not expected that the night streets in this era would be so lively. What a pity! We should not have come post-dinner, or even lunch. We should have starved ourselves for a day before coming to this place. Shao Yinduan laughed when he heard that. We can take a walk first, and if we feel like eating, we can eat some, or we can come again another time. Yes. Xiao Xian smiled and nodded as they continued strolling around. They passed by a store full of dried fruits. Xiao Xian bought some sugar-coated plums. They walked and ate as they came to the riverside. The lights on both sides of the river were reflected on the water surface. The gently flowing waves shook the light and shadow, and everything became gentle and blurred. The two of them stood under a big willow tree, feeling the cool breeze and looking at the river view, surrounded by lively people coming and going. Suddenly, the two of them looked at each other and smiled lightly. Xiao Xian pinched on the plum and passed it to Shao Yunduan's lips. Her long eyelashes blinked as she said with a smile, "Want to try, darling?" Shao Yunduan stiffened. He had heard her calling him darling numerous times, and by now he was used to it. But at this time, he felt that his heart was throbbing hard. Her slender and white fingers brushed his chin unintentionally, and the faint, smooth, and soft touch lingered for a long time. He was a little afraid to look down at her hand, let alone her smiling eyes. He lowered his eyes and said, "Yeah." Then he opened his mouth in a panic and bit the plum. Also, he bit a part of her small finger too. Shao Yunduan blushed and stiffened. He could not even start to chew the plum. Sorry. He wanted to apologize to her, but could not open his mouth and say anything. Xiao Xian had not realized what happened, but seeing him stiffen, she thought that it was because he did not like the taste of plums. She smiled. "Is it too sour? I think it is okay. You can spit it if you don't like it." Chapter 324. Teasing No. Nope. Shao Yunwan finally understood what he should say, but the sour and sweet taste was on his tongue, stimulating every cell in the mouth. He mumbled, "Not sour sweet." Xiao Xian suddenly realized why he had reacted in that way. She chuckled inwardly, feeling a bit proud. Her husband could be teased so easily, so thin-skinned. Xiao Xian added, "For real? You want to try one more?" Shao Yunduan stiffened and looked at the girl in front of him. In the dim light, she had raised her head to look at him, her moist black eyes smiling a little. She was holding a plum in her slender hand and was holding it next to his lips. At this moment, he only had her in his eyes, and the lights from far and near and the noise of pedestrians coming and going had become the background. He opened his mouth slightly, approaching her hand cautiously. He quickly grabbed the sweet and sour plum and hurriedly retreated for fear that his lips would touch her finger again abruptly. Xiao Xian, she had intended to take advantage of him and tease him. She wanted to continue asking if he hated her or not. But this man was so honest that he just did not want to offend her. Xiao Xian laughed. Well, Shao Yunduan did not dare to look at her again, but pretended to cough. You want something more? Let's go around. Sure. Xiao Xian looked at him and answered with a smile. She could not tease him anymore, but looked deeply at him. Just leave him alone. There will be more chances in the future. Also, he should focus on studies, since the imperial examination was coming soon. She should not pursue him to start a romantic relationship at this time. It was not going to be an easy examination. The two continued to stroll forward. Shao Yunwan was very careful to protect Xiao Xian, so that no one would touch or push her. What Xiao Xian saw and liked, he bought it and took the initiative to carry it and strolled down further. Though he didn't buy much, Shao Yundan's hands were full on both sides. Xiao Xian supported that and chuckled. I bought so many things already. Shao Yunwan smiled. Not many you like them. Xiao Xian felt her heart sweeten. She leaned her head and smiled at him. Really? Can you give me anything I like? Shao Yunwan felt his heart throbbing. It felt as if her words carried a deeper meaning. He nodded without looking at her. Of course. What if you regret it? Xiao Xian sounded very sad. Shao Yunwan felt his heart break after hearing that. He added, No, never. Really? Yes. Xiao Xian's eyes sparkled as she said, Oh, okay. But you should remember that only you can give me what I want, and you can't share it with anyone else. Gosh, Shao Yunwan was startled. Then he felt his heart beating fast. Right after, he was taken aback. What did she mean? Was it what he was thinking about? Shao Yunwan felt an urge to ask her, but stopped himself. Chapter 325. Not possible he was going to wait for a bit longer till he passed the examination. By that time, he would be a good match for her, and he could ask her then. Shao Yunwan flushed and believed that she should like him too. For now, he said nothing except for just 2 words, Don't worry. Xiao Xian could sense that he was very resolute at the moment. She felt his heart soften and started to feel a bit guilty. She should not have teased him like this. They should have understood by this point that they were not going to divorce as they had agreed at the beginning. I am not worried. Xiao Xian smiled and tugged at his arms. Let's go back. Qi and Tao Dao should be back by now. They will be worried about us. Shao Yunwan was very happy to be pulled by her. Let's go. There was no better wife than her. She was nice to him and treated his siblings warmly too. They ran into Tao Dao and Qi on the way back to the hotel. Shao Yunwan wondered how he felt when the duo had 2 more people joining them. He suddenly lost the sweet air which existed a while ago. The 4 of them headed back to the hotel together. As they were going into the room, Shao Yunwan suddenly stopped at the entrance and looked at Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian seemed to have sensed that he was looking at her, and she returned the look. As their eyes met, Shao Yunwan stiffened slightly and panicked. He was feeling a bit strange. He was just about to move away when Xiao Xian smiled. Good night. Shao Yunwan also replied in a relaxed tone. Good night. Then he hurried into his room. Xiao Xian chuckled and felt slightly emotional as well. She could not help but smile. Early the next morning, Yuezheng Shao came over with a wagon and took them to visit Xie Jingrong's abbey in the outskirts. Xie Jingrong's abbey was his personal property, which was located at Peach Flower Site, more than 10 miles away in the southern outskirts of the city. The abbey wasn't enormous, but looked really beautiful. There were rockeries, a small lake, and more. They could either go into the rockeries or row a boat in the lake in hot summer. Xie Jingrong's abbey was located in the valley, and there was a green lake outside the path. At the back of the abbey was a large bamboo forest that was well maintained. Passing through the bamboo forest was a maple forest. A white waterfall fell from the mountain, and the sound of rumbling water brought forth bursts of coolness. Xie Jingrong was already waiting for them when they arrived. Xie Jingrong was only entertaining them on this day. No other guests were around. Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao both let out a sigh of relief. They were very afraid of running into strangers like Lady Yuezheng. That would be awkward. Rich families varied as well. Brother Yuezheng and Brother Xiao were very different from others. Without any outsiders around, they talked happily. The garden was small and exquisite, quiet and elegant. Tao Tao could not move her legs when she saw the koi swimming in the water lily pond. So Xie Jingrong ordered his maid to bring fish food and accompany her to feed the fish. Xiao Xiaoqi was quite looking forward to seeing the horses in the abbey when he heard about it. Jingrong took them to see the horse. In a valley outside the manor, there was a small horse farm, enough for beginners to practice. Xiao Xiaoqi was really excited. He touched and patted the horses, smiling happily. Yuezheng Shao laughed and sent away the coachman, offering to teach Xiao Xiaoqi to ride a horse personally. Chapter 326. Good Things in Mountains. Xiao Xiaoqi was a fast learner. Soon he could ride alone in the horse farm, steady and calm. Yuezheng Shao praised him with a smile. Qi learns fast. Jingrong added. He seems to have established a friendship with the horse very easily. Xiao Xian felt proud and added. Of course he is. He never fails in hunting. Hunting. Yuezheng Shao felt his chin and got very excited. Qi, you are so talented. What about hunting together? I also want to go have a look at your mountain. They all laughed. Xiao Xian laughed too, but felt a bit guilty. There were many things in the mountains. Shao Yunduan said, actually hunting is a matter of luck, but there aren't many people in our village who can hunt. The mountain is full of woods, and there are many prey. If you're interested, Brother Yuezheng, please come and visit us when it gets colder. Yuezheng Shao was glad to hear the offer. It's a deal. We will definitely go over, right, Brother Xie? Jingrong nodded and gave a brief smile. Yes. Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian also went up on the horseback. They were not very good at riding compared to Qi. They were nervous and stiff on the back of the horse, and soon Xiao Xian felt arms and legs languishing. A little while later, she dismounted. Shao Yunduan rode the horse for 2 laps and went off too. Xiao Xiaoqi wanted to go beyond the horse farm, and Yuezheng Shao, who was in a good mood, decided to guide him from the back door. Jingrong turned to Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian. Yuezheng is very good at riding, and the horse is mild. Don't worry, he should take care of Qi well. Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian nodded. They were not worried about Qi. He seemed like an active boy, but he knew what he ought to do and what not. The 3 of them returned to the abbey first. Tao Tao had been feeding the fish and looking out for Xiao Xian and the others. She came over the moment she saw them. Shao Yunduan and Jingrong were chatting in the pavilion, drinking tea, whilst Xiao Xian and Shao Tao Tao just walked around randomly. Xiao Xian subconsciously started to pay attention to the plants. The plants were flourishing in the garden, and lavender was blooming vividly. There were some other small flowers as well. Xiao Xian was more interested in fruit trees and vegetables, but they did not seem to exist here. So she stopped thinking about it. Well, the plants in the garden were all for show, and the fruit trees would be limited to pomegranates, persimmons, peaches, and plums. She could go to seek some later. They ate lunch at the garden. Jingrong hired the chef from the mansion, who had been busy getting ready for the lunch. The chef cooked 1 whole table of dishes for them. Yuezheng Shao teased his friend by saying that he managed to eat the dishes only because Shao Yunduan and his family were here. Jingrong had never treated him so well like this before. They spent the afternoon rowing late, and after dinner, the sun set and they left the abbey. Yuezheng Shao took them back to the hotel. Brother Xie's abbey is so nice, so beautiful too. Of course, the province just looks so different. But I love our home more. Me too, but I want to buy a horse. Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were amused by Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao's conversation. Xiao Xian smiled. You behaved very well. Also, I agree with you. When we make more money, we will build a huge abbey, all right? Chapter 327. For favor, for real? Yes. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Tao Tao's eyes sparkled. They looked quite expectant. Yeah, it was definitely doable. They could build the abbey themselves. Of course, as long as we make enough money. We can save our money and build an abbey for ourselves. Me too. Can I raise 1 horse too then? Xiao Xian laughed. Everything is going to work out. You can have 2 if you like. But save your money and we will have an abbey sooner than later. Shao Yunduan added too. Your 5th sister-in-law is right. We will have an abbey as long as you help your 5th sister-in-law in her work. He was going to work hard as well, so that she could live a peaceful and leisurely life and not worry about the Qjao family. The following morning, Xiao, Xian headed out. They had made a deal the day before. Yuezheng Shao sent 2 wagons for them, so Chu Shan would keep them company while on the way back home. The sprouts from the florist, as well as many things, filled up one entire wagon. Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong both gave them presents to take back. Jingrong gave them 2 jars of ginseng wine, as well as some delicate pastries that were made by the chef in the mansion. He also gave some handwritten transcripts, which were excellent articles from previous examinations. These articles were easy to procure for the CF family, but for those outside the family, they were valuable things which were difficult to collect. Shao Yunwan and Shao Xian were really grateful. Those were the exact things they required. Yuezheng Shao also offered some good food and things to use, including cubulos, donkey hide gelatin, spices, and brocades. He was very generous. Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong did not see them off personally. They were friends and did not need to stick to such useless formalities. Also, Shao Yunwan was going to participate in the imperial examination next year, and when he went to the next level, he could openly become good friends with Jingrong, who would bring along his good friend, Yuezheng Shao. That would work out smoothly. If he was known to have befriended the CF family earlier, he might risk being gossiped about. Yuezheng Shao put the newly obtained lipsticks in the store for sale. Due to the limited stock, only 30 pieces were sold each day, and each person was given no more than 2. If they failed to get even 1, the consumers could buy items worth 10 liang at or make a booking for the next day. 10 liang was a huge amount. Even for people from a CF family, the pocket money of the ladies would only be 2 liang monthly. Well, if the ladies had the intention of buying good stuff, they would always have ways to get their mother to buy them. Yuezheng Shao was very satisfied. This small store brought in a lot of profit for him every month. More importantly, he did not need to spend a lot of effort in building up the store. As long as he had lipsticks in stock, he could always buy some other things and sell them easily. Once home, Yuezheng Shao was asked by Madame Yuezheng to come over for a talk. Yuezheng Shao could almost tell what was going on. He nodded, changed his clothes, and went for the talk. Yuezheng Ting must have reported him again. Yuezheng Ting wanted 10 lipsticks from him the day before, but he had turned her down. And now his grandmother was looking for him. What a coincidence. He could give her 1, but 10? Why, so that she could share them with others to lift up her reputation. Never. Yuezheng Ting was very irritating. She said that 10 lipsticks just cost a few hundred liang, and that was nothing for her third brother. Why couldn't he give them to her? But someone needed to tell her that this money was not falling from the sky. Chapter 328. Yuezheng Shao's relief. Yuezheng Shao greeted his grandmother and spoke with her for a few moments. Soon after, Madame Yuezheng started to ask him about the lipsticks. She kept blaming him for not caring about his cousin. As expected, she said that it was a matter of just a few lipsticks which only cost a few hundred liang. Yuezheng Shao did not bother to listen to her carefully. He let the words go through his ears and disappear. A few hundred liang was a huge amount in any family. The Yuezheng family was really rich, but a few hundred liang was still a sizable amount. He was not going to give them to Yuezheng Ting for free just for her whim. Not even when Madame Yuezheng asked for it. However, Madame Yuezheng just mentioned this briefly instead of forcing Yuezheng Shao to do it for Yuezheng Ting. However, that was not it. Madame Yuezheng did not continue with it, but suddenly added, "We have manned business affairs in our family, and Vu can help with our family business as well. You can just leave this store to Ting, who can train herself. She can earn some money as well. She is a girl, totally suitable for such a store. What do you think?" Yuezheng Shao was not a stingy person, but he was disgusted by what he had heard. No wonder she did not pester him earlier. This was what she was thinking about. Seeing that he didn't say anything, Madame Yuezheng further said, "I will decide it for you. Just give the store to Ting, like the source and everything. Don't forget to teach her well." Yuezheng Shao turned her down. Yuezheng Shao smiled. "Grandmother, what a coincidence. I'm trying to train myself as well. I started it with my own money, not with the family money. I am saving this for my wife, not others. If a cousin wants to train herself, Why not pick any other store from the family business? Or she can open one herself if she likes. He was not working for the family, but for the business line from the Northwest. His elder brother would have dropped it too. The two brothers worked hard, not for the second section of the family to take advantage of. That's not how things worked. Madame Yuezheng was startled. She sounded a bit annoyed. But it's just a small store, if Ting likes it. But I like it too. Yuezheng Xiao smiled, but he did not mean to smile. He replied in a frivolous tone, "Grandmother, you know that I will never give away anything I love. Grandmother, spoil me once too, all right?" Madame Yuezheng. Yuezheng Xiao smiled, got up, and left. This child has been taught so badly by his parents. She was furious. The second Mrs. Yuezheng and Yuezheng Ting walked out of the room behind, and second Mrs. Yuezheng said, "Don't be mad. Mother, Ting has forgotten what Shao is like." "He is right. Just drop it." Madame Yuezheng sneered. "He is like this because his parents have taught him wrong." Yuezheng Ting pursed her lips and said in a muffled sound, "I love this store a lot. That is why I asked the third brother for it. How could he turn me down for just one thing I asked him for? How can he talk with you like this? Doesn't he feel guilty when he speaks with you like this, grandmother?" Chapter 329. Pretense. Madame Yuezheng became even more annoyed. She sneered. "He doesn't think of me as his grandmother at all." Second Mrs. Yuezheng smiled. "It is fine, Mom. Shao loves you, but he is just fickle because he is a young man. He can be confused sometimes. Ting, talk with your grandmother, and I will check in the kitchen. Mom, you're going to be served delicious food consisting of longan with duck soup. I have to stay by the fireplace and watch it carefully." Only now did Madame Yuezheng feel happier. She smiled emotionally. "You love me the most." Yuezheng Ting blinked her eyes and said with a smile, "That is what we should." Madame Yuezheng laughed. By the time they finished with lunch, Madame Yuezheng was very happy. After that, the mother and daughter went back to their own yards. The mother and the daughter felt so uncomfortable after pretending to serve Madame Yuezheng well. That was why Yuezheng Ting did not like to speak with Madame Yuezheng. It was so tiring. She loved to be free and alone. "Mom, we can't let it go so easily, right? I really want that store." Yuezheng Ting was really unconvinced. If she could be in charge of the store, she would use the lipsticks to become friends with the ladies from the Xie family. Then, she would have more chances to get closer to the Xie family. Third brother was so stingy as to not give that small store to her. Second Mrs. Yuezheng sneered and said, "What can we do if your third brother doesn't agree to it? We can't steal it, right? He is not a very easy person to deal with." Second Mrs. Yuezheng had already noticed the potential of the store when Yuezheng Xiao first promoted the lipsticks. She also got interested in it, seeing that he had very little in stock. Second Mrs. Yuezheng even offered to find someone who could produce more for them and expand the business. That basically meant that she wanted to be involved in the process. The lipsticks business was different from the others. All ladies would try to suck up to them if such business was in her hands. Also, it was a very special way of making money, safe and generous. But Yuezheng Xiao turned her down. Yuezheng Xiao and his brother were not very easy to deal with. Second Mrs. Yuezheng had no way to force him to accept her proposal. She had expected that no matter what Yuezheng Ting said to Madame Yuezheng, the result would be the same. But she just wanted to make Madame Yuezheng hate the first section of the family some more and cause more trouble for Yuezheng Xiao. Yuezheng Ting remained unconvinced. Biting her lower lip, she said, "How can third brother treat us like this? I am his sister, but he is treating me worse than he treats that whole poor family." Second Mrs. Yuezheng raised her eyebrows. "What poor family?" Yuezheng Ting pursed her lips and recounted the story when she met Shao Yunduan, Yuezheng Xiao, and Xie Jingrong at the restaurant. Second Mrs. Yuezheng thought for a while and said, "That poor family might be related to your third brother in some way." Yuezheng Ting was startled. Second Mrs. Yuezheng said, "Your third brother never gets close to anyone so quickly. Moreover, young Master Xie was with him too." Moved, Second, Mrs. Yuezheng suddenly thought of how the whole family showed up after Yuezheng, Xiao, started the store. She could not find the source of the lipsticks because Yuezheng Xiao was very cautious all this while. Her staff could not trace it either. Second, Mrs. Yuezheng sneered. Well, they could look into these poor people, and her men could go about and dig out the truth. When she found out the source, Yuezheng Xiao would not be able to hold on to this business. Chapter 330. Province 2nd. Mrs. Yuezheng knew that her daughter could not conceal any secret, so she did not reveal this plan to her. Yuezheng Ting did not think of it as something of importance. She was more worried about her own marital affairs, so she could not help but start to mention Jingrong again. The two of them mumbled to each other for a few moments before stopping. At Shouting Village, Qiao Xian and Shao Yunwan finally returned home in the evening. Their trip was quite long, and they finally came back home and settled in. Ms. Fong kept saying out of relief, "Good that you were back. I was so worried about you. I was scared that you would be bullied or have no place to go to. I was just too stressed. Good that you were finally back." They heard her words and burst into laughter. Xiao Xian felt her heart become warm. She smiled. "Mom, we're no longer little children. We could take good care of ourselves. Also, we went to the province, not somewhere dangerous. No one would bully us there." Yes. Shao Xiaoqi said. Brother Yuezheng and Brother Xiao were there too. It was so much fun. Miss Fong glared at him. "You only know how to play." Tao Tao suddenly held back her own words when she saw her mother's reaction. She stuck out her tongue. Xiao Xian and Tao Tao had sorted the things on their way home, and it was easy for them to arrange them. The ingredients were all stored in the empty wing room. The gifts for each person were put in packages and given out directly. The brocades and other things given by Yuezheng Shao, as well as those given by Jingrong, were all put away by Xiao Xian in her own room. She gave the snacks to others and shared them with Miss Fong. The Xief family, which was a noble family, had given very exquisite and small pastries. There were various flower-shaped red bean cakes, mung bean cakes, sweet-scented osmanthus cakes, lotus cakes shaped like lotus flowers, transparent and beautiful crystal cakes, as well as jujube mud cakes, hawthorn cakes, chestnut cakes, fried sugar balls, sugar lotus seeds, etc. They looked good and tasted even better. Everything looked so good and people spoke highly of them. They were even hesitant to swallow them down. They also bought some stuff for the second and third section of the family. Those were cheap things, but looked good. They should be enough for them. No one wanted to deliver the stuff to them, though. Ms. Fong asked eldest uncle to do the needful, who in turn delegated it to Tao Tao. Tao Tao dodged it, and the others pretended that they had not seen a thing. Eldest uncle had no choice but to go there alone. They all knew about Shao Yunwan and their visit to the province, and felt very complicated in heart. The first section of the family got so lucky that they had a different life after Qiao Xian married into the family. That was the province they went to. Not many people from the village even went to the town. The first section of the family in the past could never have done a thing like this. Eldest uncle delivered the things, and Ms. Neo and second uncle were both quite happy. They were no longer as wild as in the past. Ms. Neo knew that they could only wait for Ms. Fong to give them stuff. Ms. Zhang looked at her smiling in-laws and got annoyed. The first section of the family would rather go to province to splurge their money than loan a few yuan to her. Chapter 331. Affairs when eldest uncle came to the third section of the family. Shao Liulang had also returned from college. Hearing that Shao Yunwan and Oyo Xian had gone to the province, Shao Liulang was startled at first and then got quite uncomfortable. He smiled. Isn't fifth brother studying? What was he doing in the province? And he was away for so long. He dreamed about going to the province, but he could not go there unless it was for the examination. What were people like Shao Yunwan doing there? Slightly startled, eldest uncle had no idea what his children were doing in the province. They just went there and did not say anything. Eldest uncle did not find it strange, thus did not ask. But when Shao Liulang questioned him about this, he staggered. I don't know. They can do whatever they want. Xiao Luling got up and said, then, I will go and speak with him. Xiao Yunduan was just a cultivated talent who should go to the province next year. But he was there for so long. It must have been not just for shopping, but also to attend some events held by the colleges and poetry society, etc. He might have bought some books home too. The more he thought about this, the more Xiao Lulang felt jealous. He got really distressed again by the fact that he had not saved the second miss of the Qjao family at that time. But for Ms. Xiao, Xiao Yunduan would not have gotten so lucky and had the chance to visit the province. Xiao Yunduan was not surprised by Xiao Lulang's visit. Xiao Lulang hit right on the topic after a few remarks. Fifth brother, have you heard any news or bought any related books? I should have gone there with you and checked it out ahead of time. What he meant ahead of time was before the examination date. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian felt quite speechless. This man was not yet the cultivated talent, and the examination will not happen until mid-autumn day. Was he so sure that he would become the cultivated talent for sure this time? Even if he did make it, he would not have much time to read and review. Did he dare to do so within such a short while? Xiao Yunduan did not want to ponder over this question, thus did not say a word. Xiao Lulang could not help but ask sourly. Fifth brother, just tell me frankly, you must have visited some people during the days you stayed in the province, right? You visited some important people and heard some news too, right? Xiao Yunduan did not want to discuss this. Thanks to Jingrong and Yuezheng Shao, he did have a good harvest during this trip, and he got to visit many people. He also learned a great deal from those experienced figures. Jingrong even gave him numerous precious documents. He could not tell the truth, feeling that Xiao Lulang would get jealous. He also hoped that Xiao Lulang could achieve the goal he wanted to. If he could pass the cultivated talent examination, he could definitely pass on some information to him, but not right now. It was not very easy to meet those people, Xiao Yunduan replied vaguely. Xiao Lulang felt much more comfortable and showed a smile on his distressed face. He took it for granted that Xiao Yunduan had failed to visit the scholars there, though he intended to. Chapter 332. For whom, fifth brother, you are right. Those people are arrogant, and they are not easy to meet up with. It is totally reasonable that they didn't want to meet you. Don't be upset. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Yeah. Anyway, this is your assumption. Xiao Lulang asked again. Fifth brother, but you must have bought some books home, right? Can I read them? Xiao Yunduan did not turn him down. He took out the books, but did not show him the excellent articles. These were not useful for Xiao Lulang. Xiao Lulang leafed through the stuff and looked quite jealous. Fifth brother, can I borrow them and read? Xiao Yunduan said, they are not useful for you right now. You can have them when you become a cultivated talent. He needed these books and decided to study them wholeheartedly these days. He was not going to let Xiao Lulang borrow them away. He would not mind helping Xiao Lulang when he was not affected, but he was not going to sacrifice himself for him. Xiao Lulang was not worth it. Also, he needed to be guarded against this cousin of his. He was always so jealous of him. Since he got the books, Xiao Yunduan would not loan them out to Xiao Lulang. He would only allow him to make a copy. For some reason, Xiao Lulang started to believe that Xiao Yunduan had more opportunities to pass the examination. That made him both jealous and anxious, and he even started to panic. Xiao Yunduan was always far more excellent than him, though they started to study together. Xiao Yunduan kept going upwards, whilst he remained still. What would others think of him under such circumstances? He would turn to a laughingstock. Fifth brother, I'm just borrowing them. You are too stingy to lend them to me? Or are you trying to stop me from making it to the next level? I'm not affecting you. We will bring honor to our family together. Eldest uncle heard that and added involuntarily. Yunduan, you can just lend them out to your cousin. If both of you make it, we will be so honored. Xiao Yunduan did not respond to his father. In his father's opinion, his brothers were all very nice people without any fault. That is okay. Xiao Yunduan said calmly. You can come and copy them. I need to use those books, and so, you can't take them away. But you can copy them. Xiao Lulang looked embarrassed. But I'm going to take the examination soon. What time do I have for copying? Fifth brother, you are giving me a hard time. Xiao Xian could not stand it anymore. Who on earth was giving others a hard time here? Don't worry, these books are not very practical for you right now. They are useful for him as the cultivated talent. You can copy them when you become a cultivated talent. I bought them with great difficulty, not just with money. These are very precious for my husband right now, and it is not very suitable to loan them to you right now. Okay? You are our cousin, and we allow you to make copies. Otherwise, we would not even show them to anyone else. Miss Fong looked annoyed. Liulang, it is your fault. They are not useful for you. What are you borrowing them for? Are you trying to slow down Yuan? Shao Liulang got annoyed. How can you say that, eldest aunt? Chapter 333. Unexpected ginseng, Miss Fong sneered. Then you don't have to do so. Shao Liulang got annoyed and got up. Okay then. Shao Liulang left, and Ms. Fong said to Shao Yuan, just ignore him. He must be ill-purposed and knows nothing. I wonder what books he has read. Shao Yuan smiled. Mom, I am not angry. You shouldn't be angry as well. He glanced at Xiao Xian, and they looked at each other. Xiao Xian smiled. I am not angry either. Shao Yuan chuckled and nodded. Eldest uncle opened his mouth, and suddenly, he felt that he was not a part of the conversation. He said with a muffled sound, Yuan, you can help your cousin. If both of you make it, it is an honor to our family. When he becomes a cultivated talent, I can definitely offer him any books he wants and answer all of his questions. Well, Shao Yuan did not think that Shao Liulang was modest enough to turn to him for help. He would always try to start an argument with him on whichever topic it may be. Eldest uncle opened his mouth and did not have any idea what he should say. His son had already finished what should be said, though he did not think anything was wrong. After a while, he replied in a muffled tone. Okay then. Ms. Fong rolled her eyes, but said with a smile to her children, You are tired too. I will get Ms. Su and Ms. Yang to make some food. Ms. Yang always sneaks in some food whenever she is cooking. The following day, Xiao Xian went through everything she bought from the province, which included cloth, needle and thread, and some silk flowers, which she shared with Ms. Fong, Ms. Su, and Yang Xiaoni. Everyone was so glad to receive the presents. Xiao Xian was very curious about the 2 jars of ginseng wine. She opened them and checked them. She was startled the moment she opened them. The ginsengs were as thick as one's fingers, and the scent attacked the nose the moment she opened the lid. More importantly, one of the ginsengs even had a pair of leaves growing out of the surface. The ginseng was still alive inside. Overjoyed, Xiao Xian used chopsticks and took out the ginseng, sending it to her space. Instantly, she saw how the ginseng went into the enriched earth. The leaves expanded and it looked greener. The space became more magical and lively. There were still many things that the space needed. When it reached a certain degree, something different would happen. Not only would space become stronger, but her superpower would become stronger as well. Then the plants would flourish more and the space would become better and better. Look at those that she had put inside. They were much stronger than before, and the space became even more magical and lively. She was going to work harder. When roses bloomed, Xiao Xian and the others started to make lipsticks. They were better at making them now and were faster too. After this, they went on to pick the mushrooms and wooden ears as well. Shao Sanlang even went into the town to buy meat and ribs so they could make food with the fresh mushrooms. They chopped the meat, stuffed it with some minced green onion, made stuffed mushrooms, fungus, and yam slices, boiled peanuts. They also grilled pork ribs with mushrooms and fried cabbage with mushrooms, and scallops. Chapter 334. Sweet Osmanthus. The fresh mushrooms were thick and tender, smooth in texture and fragrant, suitable for all kinds of side dishes. Xiao Xian harvested some snow fungus as well. She saved the original to take the spore mycelium and cultivate more. If all went on like this, there would be a huge harvest of snow fungus soon. Sweet osmanthus had bloomed as well. Xiao Xian had more than 2 mu of sweet osmanthus, and she used some of her superpower to make them grow faster. Those flowers grew faster than ordinary ones, and the flowers were not very huge. Xiao Xian was thinking that she should put in some more superpower so the amount could double. When the flowers were more lively, she was going to place 1 clean carpet below the tree, shake the flowers, and extract oil from them to make lip balms. Also, she was going to save the extra ones for using them in perfumes. The sweet osmanthus did not bloom in a large quantity in the floral field, but many people in the village had osmanthus trees planted in the open space in front of their gates, some of which were decades old, with thick branches and cloud-like crowns. People could smell the refreshing floral scent from afar. Xiao Xian decided to buy some sweet osmanthuses from those households, seeing the flowers blooming there. The price was 3 won for half a kilo. The trees in front of the house meant auspiciousness and could provide shelter. Also, the smell would be nice in autumn. The villagers never expected that they could make money out of it. The villagers were very happy about receiving the money. They all went to Xiao Xian when they got the news. They were all trying to be the seller. Xiao Xian truly wanted to collect as many sweet osmanthus as possible. The more essential oils were refined, the better. Osmanthus could also be used to make osmanthus candy, osmanthus cake, osmanthus pie, and osmanthus sauce. After drying, it could be used as fillings for various snacks, porridge, and various sugar waters. It could also be added to make tea or wine. The fresh, sweet-scented osmanthus was washed, added to honey, and stored in a sealed container. With that, they could get sweet-scented osmanthus honey. If they had lotus roots, they could even make sweet osmanthus and glutinous rice lotus roots. Sweet osmanthus was, after all, a piece of treasure. Xiao Xian assured everyone, saying that she would buy as long as they wanted to sell. Then she took Ms. Yang, Qi, and Tao Tao and visited house from house to collect the flowers. The ground was cleaned, and a clean blanket was spread around the tree. Shao Sanlang climbed up the tree and shook the branches neither lightly nor heavily. Soon he saw golden osmanthus flowers pouring down like rain with a fragrant scent. Then they used broomsticks to gather them and put them into the basket carefully. They collected flowers in the morning and processed them in the afternoon. They could collect more than 10 kilos from those households. 10 kilos amounted to 61. Villagers were very happy to have got this much money. Widow's son had 2 large sweet osmanthus trees in front of her house, but she did not offer to sell sweet osmanthus, nor did Xiao Xian visit her. She was such a bitch. Her mother-in-law even had fights with her, and Xiao Xian would not turn to Widow's son for this work. Widow's son could not humble herself to ask Xiao Xian. She was very jealous of her too. She was waiting for Xiao Xian to come to her, but Widow's son could not stand it when Xiao Xian did not show up. The sweet osmanthus trees outside her house were blooming in layers. There should be more than 10 kilos altogether. Chapter 335. Nope, if she did not sell them, sweet osmanthus would rot after the season passed. That would be such a waste. This money could be earned without her making much effort. It would be such a loss not to make use of the opportunity. Widow's son cursed inwardly and could not sit still anymore. Eldest uncle asked Xiao Xian, "Miss Qiao, why did you skip Widow's son's sweet osmanthus? It is not good that we ignored her home, right? People might think that we are bullying a widow." Before Xiao Xian could say anything, Miss Fong snorted. "You are just overly kind-hearted. That woman always badmouths us. We don't need her flowers. Also, if she wants to sell her flowers, she can come to us. That is how everyone else did it." Xiao Xian added with a smile, "Yeah, Dad, what if she refuses to sell it to us because of the argument she had with Mom last time? That would be so embarrassing for us. If she comes to me of her own accord, I would accept them." Ms. Fong said with a praising tone, "Look how considerate Ms. Qiao is. If she still claims that we are bullying her after refusing to come to us first, I will definitely teach her a lesson. And you too." Ms. Fong snapped at elder uncle. "Stop coming up with silly ideas. What if she simply doesn't want to sell the flowers and Miss Qiao asks for them? It would be totally embarrassing. Eldest uncle got stuck with words. He mumbled, "But we are living in the same village." Then he continued no more. He had chatted with the land officer earlier today, who mentioned it to him. After all, Widow Sun was a woman who lived in the same village, and it might not be appropriate to just skip her family. He found the words reasonable, and thus told Xiao Xin about it. He did not know whether Widow Sun wanted to sell her sweet osmanthus flowers. What if that was the case? Widow Sun waited for a long while, but Xiao Xin did not turn up, so she got really annoyed. "They're just bullying me. Wait and see." After the rain, it got cooler. The burning sensation of the sun shining on people had also disappeared. Although the sun was still bright and dazzling, the scorching temperature caused by it had obviously subsided. The sun shone brightly, but it was not scorching. Mid-autumn day will arrive soon. It was time to eat crabs. For now, all they could do was just to think about it. Crabs were in the river, but they were river crabs, thin and not meaty, most of which were just bones. Xiao Xian and Shao Xiaoqi as well as Tao Dao had caught some before, but the crabs were not to be steamed. They could only be cleaned, chopped and fried with ginger and scallions. Only a small taste of crabs could be had. There were no big crabs for sale in small places in the county town. Some wealthy families were greedy for this bite, and they all asked the housekeepers of mansions to go directly to the province to buy them. Xiao Xian believed that when the tea field was set up at the Zhang village, she was definitely going to dig one pool stretching across 2 to 3 mu. By that time, there should be all kinds of seafood, such as fish, shrimps, crabs, snails, and mussels available. Lotus root and water chestnut should also be cultivated, ready to eat at any time. It was time for them to pay back a visit to the other side of the family as mid-autumn day approached. All married women, including Xiao Xian, needed to visit their natal homes on Mid-Autumn Day and Chinese New Year's Eve. Chapter 336. Ready to leave, there was no preferential treatment done in the first section of the family. Ms. Fong was very generous, especially with plenty of money in her hands. She had abundant presents prepared for Ms. Su and Yang Xiaoni. A duck, a chicken, 30 eggs, 10 goose eggs, and a bottle of honey weighing about 2 caddies, all of which were taken from home. She also bought around 4 kilos of pork belly, 2 jars of wine, 5 kilograms of pastries, and 2 pieces of thick fine cloth. Ms. Fong used the shared savings to buy these things. Ms. Fong would not care what more they would want to buy privately with their own money. Ms. Fong did the same with her own family, too. Xiao Xian was an exception, though. Ms. Fong gave Xiao Xin 20 liang and asked her and Shao Yunduan to buy according to their own customs. After all, she did not know what the county magistrate would require. Since they treated Xiao Xin badly and did not like the local stuff, they were not going to send things from home. 20 liang was enough for them to buy whatever they needed. Xiao Xin tried to turn down the 20 liang, but Ms. Fong smiled. "I know you have money, but these are from shared savings, and what you need to do is to take it." Xiao Xian accepted it with a smile and spoke highly of her mother-in-law, making Ms. Fong smile brightly. Miss Su was very happy. She could not help but raise her head when she thought of how much she could take to her home. This stuff should be enough, so she decided not to buy anything more except that she could offer 2 liang to her mother privately. She asked Xiao Xian for some tomatoes and watermelon seeds. Tomatoes were very tasty for woked dishes and soup. When made into a sauce, it could be stirred with noodles. Miss Su thought about taking some home for her parents to eat, so they could plant some more next year. Xiao Xian agreed generously. She picked some, and together with some newly picked mushrooms and wooden ears, she gave them all to Ms. Su and her mother-in-law. But for watermelons that were out of season, they could even bring some home too. They even had some tea leaves prepared as well. Xiao Xian thought of her lipsticks. She told them not to share the information with their natal families. Lipsticks were very special and had a huge potential. They would run out of stock instantly. Xiao Xian did not want this to be exposed so as to cause trouble for herself. Miss Fong and Miss Su both agreed. Ms. Fong and Ms. Su were very excited about visiting their own homes, but young Xiaoni was not willing to return to her house. Mom, I don't want to go back to my home. I don't want to give them anything. They would rather feed the food to the dogs. Shao Sanling added, That is true. They bully my wife and still get good things from us? No way. Both of them were very angry. Ms. Fong, when reminded of Yang Liang and his wife, felt annoyed too. The couple did not dare to cause trouble to Ms. Fong after being taught the lesson last time. But for Mid-Autumn Day, which was approaching soon, Ms. Fong almost forgot about how the couple had behaved last time. Ms. Fong thought for a while and said, You can do whatever you want. But remember one thing, never cause trouble to the family. We are reasonable people who always prepared presents for the daughter-in-law's families. You should not cause any rumors for us. Yang Xiaoni and Shao Sanlang exchanged a look between themselves, feeling rather unhappy. What about visiting your parents' tomb again? Chapter 337. Worshipping Yang Xiaoni nodded directly. I think that's what we should do. Ms. Fong. Anyway, they could do whatever they wanted. The couple behaved badly first. Therefore, when Ms. Fong and Ms. Su headed home happily with presents in their hands, Yang Xiaoni and Shao Sanlang stepped out as well. But they went to do the worshipping of the deceased. There was a whole chicken boiled in water and large pieces of boiled pork belly. There were cakes, wine, incense candles, paper money, and each of them was carrying a hoe to sort out the graves and remove weeds. The couple did not enter the village, but went to the tombs directly. Some people witnessed the scene and went to inform Ms. Tian and Yang Liang about it. After all, what Yang Xiaoni did the previous time was shocking, and Ms. Tian, as well as Yang Liang, had been laughed until date over it. But Yang Xiaoni managed to marry into the Shao family, which was quite a lucky thing for her. Many people were curious whether Yang Xiaoni would bring the gifts to her mother's family for the Mid-Autumn Day. She did, but she went to the tombs instead. Miss Tian got so furious when she heard the news. What is wrong with that damned girl? Does she think that she can look down upon us just because she has married someone rich? She needs to have her own home as the backup. Otherwise, she will cry to death without us. Yang Liang was very displeased too. He said impatiently, Just drop it. It is so humiliating. Ms. Tian sneered. Your sister is shameless. You should speak to her. Ever since Yang Xiaoni was married off, the couple had to do all kinds of housework, and they were both really irritated. So they kept arguing with each other. Yang Liang could not stand Ms. Tian, and he was pissed each time. He did not dare to hit Ms. Tian because she would scratch him back. So Yang Liang left angrily with a sunken face. By the time he realized where he was going, he had reached the entrance of the village. He was startled and subconsciously headed towards his parents' tombs. Yang Xiaoni and Shao Sanlang had removed the weeds, added new soil, and put on the sacrifices and candles, incense. The couple were chatting when Yang Xiaoni suddenly smiled brightly. Hearing the sound of footsteps, the couple turned to Yang Liang and got startled. Shao Sanlang subconsciously pushed Yang Xiaoni behind his back and asked, What are you doing here? Yang Liang opened his mouth and was even more surprised than them. He was totally shocked. Was this girl really his sister? The original yellow, thin face had grown flesh, but it was not fat. The melon-seeded face was very pretty. The skin was white and red. The facial features were so delicate and beautiful. The apricot kernel's eyes were watery, and the black oily hair was glowing with a healthy luster. More importantly, she was full of energy and looked radiant. There was no one in the village more beautiful than her. She was wearing a goose yellow embroidered skirt. Although it was not satin and brocade, the material was very good at first glance. The colors were bright, and the shoes on her feet were embroidered in sapphire blue. She looked extremely beautiful. Yang Liang was shocked. He suspected that he had seen the wrong person. Where was that skinny and unhealthy-looking young maiden who left home? Chapter 338. Not recognizable are you, Xiaoni? Xiao Sanlang sneered and rolled his eyes at Yang Liang. Of course she was. Yang Xiaoni looked at her brother, feeling as if it had been years since they last met. She felt quite empty-hearted right now. She did not hate him, nor did she like him. She just regarded him as a stranger. She could let go of what they did to her, but she could not forgive him. She was not going to love them at all. From the day when she was driven out of the family on her wedding day, she decisively cut her relationship with her brother. Just clean up and let's leave, Yang Xiaoni said to Shao Sanlang. Shao Sanlang wanted to do the same and nodded. Okay, let's go. Yang Liang shouted loudly at them, seeing them putting things away. Xiaoni. Yang Xiaoni paused and turned around, looking at him calmly. Anything else? Yang Xiaoni's look and attitude stung Yang Liang and irritated him. She had turned arrogant, just like what Ms. Tian said. Nothing, just wondering if you want to visit us at home? I and your sister-in-law miss you. Yang Liang's voice turned increasingly soft. He was obviously feeling guilty inwardly. Shao Sanlang snorted and rolled his eyes. Missing what? Her, as your laborer? You are so greedy. Yang Liang snapped at him angrily. Shao Yingguang, what are you talking about? You are our son-in-law. Of course I am, Shao Sanlang said with a smile. I am here paying tribute to my in-laws, thanking them for giving birth to such a wonderful daughter. You, Yang Xiaoni laughed and threw a spoiled look at Shao Sanlang, looking rather sweet. Shao Sanlang chuckled and said to Yang Xiaoni, let's go home, darling. We're going to eat something good tonight. Yeah. Yang Xiaoni nodded happily. She did not look at Yang Liang again. Yang Liang was shivering as he said, tremblingly, How dare you? How dare you? Yang Liang got annoyed and went home. Ms. Tian looked behind his back and saw no one, so she sneered. I thought you wanted to bring them home, didn't you? Yang Liang did ask them to visit them, but they did not want to come over. So he snorted and went into the room, falling asleep. Ms. Tian cursed for a long while before she stopped. She was cursing inwardly that Yang Xiaoni should never come to her ever. Otherwise, she was going to punish her badly. Neither Ms. Fong nor Ms. Su spent the night at their mother's home. Ms. Fong visited her home with her husband and children, Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taodao. They all returned by the evening. They were all so happy, especially Ms. Su. She acted especially kindly to Qiao Xian. She must have been so happy during her visit. Ms. Su was indeed delighted. She was the eldest sister at home who had to work harder than anyone else but did not get treated well by her parents. After all, they had to work hard to feed themselves under the bad circumstances. Chapter 339. Back to the Qjao family. She had younger siblings, so she needed to take care of them and had help with housework as well. Ms. Su had a younger brother and a younger sister, but the family was doing okay. Her parents favored the son, but not in an extreme way. Ms. Su was not incapable either. Ms. Zu's sister married someone better, so she kept showing off whenever they ran into each other at their mother's home. But this time, Ms. Su was no longer demeaned. She was so happy to see how jealous her younger sister was of her. But she was not that stupid as to reveal everything to her family and her sister. Still, she was very happy inwardly. Her sister would be so jealous of her if she really learned how much money she had saved and how well she was living. The following day, Qiao Xian and Shao Yinduan went into the town and gave presents to Officer Qjao. Liu Yin followed along. Qiao Xian could have forced her to stay and find an excuse to counter Qiao Wei. But Qiao Xian knew her sister well. The more you try to conceal some secret from her, the more she would pick on you. So, she brought Liu Yin with her and let her ask whatever she wanted to know. In this way, Qiao Wei would drop the intention of asking more. Remember what I told you to do? Qiao Xian threw a very calm look at Liu Yin. Liu Yin was startled and nodded nervously. I do. Don't worry, second miss. I remember everything. Liu Yin had already lost the intention of causing trouble since she had been through so much and was threatened by Qiao Xian. Also, she had become more down-to-earth than before. Second miss and the whole family treated her relatively well. Although she was stuck with all kinds of housework, they did not hit her. More importantly, the second miss was not less powerful than the elder Mississippi. If she became really angry, she could definitely ruin her. Xiao Xian added. Good. You should never reveal the secret when we are at the Qjao family. You don't have to respect me and my husband there. Act casually, purse your lips, and roll your eyes whenever you want to understand. You can just tell Qiao Wei whatever she wants to hear, and you can even mock us. Xiao Yinduan almost burst into laughter. But Lu Yin could not laugh at all. She nodded constantly. Yes, yes, she was actually feeling quite nervous inside her heart. She had never expected that there would be a day when she was going to lie to Elder Mississippi. The couple went to buy presents in the town. They bought some boxes of pastries, 2 jars of wine, and 2 chickens. That fit the status of the Shao family, and it looked as if the Shao family had spent a lot of money sucking up to the Qjao family. Otherwise, how could a poor rural family afford to buy so many presents? Xiao Yinduan looked at Xiao Xian and wanted to hold her hand, but stopped himself after all. We only stay for a while, and we'll leave soon. Don't be angry no matter what they say. Xiao Xian smiled. I want, and you should not either. Xiao Yinduan nodded, and they smiled at each other. They knocked at the gate of the mansion, and the guards let them in. Seeing Xiao Yinduan and Xiao Xian holding the things in their hands whilst the maid Lu Yin was empty-handed, the guards at the gate could not help but looked disdainful. Second Miss was such a failure. Even the Elder Miss Cat was more precious than Second Miss, and Lu Yin was Elder Miss Maid. What could Second Miss do about her anyway? The guards felt jealous. It seemed that Lu Yin must have been acting like an arrogant miss at the Shao family. Chapter 340. Not for examination Officer Qiao was present as well. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yinduan walked in and greeted them politely. Officer Qiao and his wife were not at all interested in their presence. The maids took them away the moment they accepted them. Officer Qiao nodded at them and behaved as if he had given them the biggest favor. Take a seat. Thanks, father-in-law. Xiao Yinduan and Xiao Xian sat down. Xiao Xian had her eyes lowered and uttered no sound. Officer Qiao frowned and looked disgusted by how Xiao Xian behaved. This was the concubine's daughter he hated the most. She was timid, weak, and quiet. She was not open-minded like Wei, nor was she lovely like Ko. She was not at all interesting for anyone to hang out with. She simply wasn't pleasing to look at, but Officer Qiao had not thought about what made Xiao Xian become so. Her mother, who was alive in the past, had been bullied by his wife all the time. What could a concubine's daughter like her do to survive? After a few words, Concubine Du said with a smile, Second Miss, you are still so shy, even in front of your own family. But as I look at you, I find that you seem prettier than before. Is it because of the good living in the countryside? Qiao Ko chuckled inwardly and threw an ironic look at Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian subconsciously cringed and said nothing. She reminded herself that next time, she needed to wear makeup that made her look sad and weak, not pretty. Seeing her slightly changed look, Xiao Ko believed that she was feeling very embarrassed. Thus she became even happier and proudly raised her eyebrows. Officer Qiao said nothing as he glanced at Xiao Xian. He turned to Xiao Yinduan. You are a cultivated talent, right? Xiao Yinduan replied to this fact politely. Yes, father-in-law. Officer Qiao nodded and asked again, do you plan to participate in the examination next year? For one moment, everyone turned to look at Xiao Yinduan. Apart from Xiao Xian, no one, including Officer Qiao, intended to let Xiao Yinduan take part in the examination or expected him pass it. Xiao Yinduan forced out the answer. Yes, Officer Qiao snorted and said nothing more. He had lost interest already. He did not think that this man would pass the examination anyway, just by looking at how unconfident he was. Madame Xiao and Concubine Du were both quite delighted seeing this. Madame Xiao smiled. If you're not that sure, you don't have to take the examination next year. It is such a waste of money for your poor family, right? You're still young. You can spend one more decade preparing and then trying it. Isn't that better? You are right. Concubine Du added. You need to know that you're not only the son of the Shao family, but the old master's son-in-law. If you don't make it through, you're going to be a humiliation for our family, too. I don't think you need to try it now. I heard that you need to be very well prepared to pass the examination. The chance is 1 out of 100. Honestly, you are too young to pass it. Officer Qjao looked serious as he nodded. They are right. If you're not confident, you don't have to take the examination at all. What a waste of money and also a cause of humiliation, right? Xiao Xian threw a sneaky look at Shao Yunduan, who turned to gaze at her too. He lowered his head and indicated that she need not get worried. Chapter 341. Showing off parents-in-law, concubine do, your words are reasonable. I will bear them in mind. Xiao Xian found it funny that her husband had started to become sneaky. He bore those words in mind, but he did not accept the suggestion. Officer Qiao instantly lost interest in Shao Yunduan. What could a cultivated talent do? A cultivated talent might be quite admirable at the village, but for him, a cultivated talent was nothing. If Shao Yunduan was just a cultivated talent, he would likely remain this for the rest of his life. He was not going to waste any more energy on a man like him. Officer Qiao got up. You can sit here if you want to, and have some lunch. Then he left, not offering them any reason why he was leaving. Seeing this, Madame Qiao got even more happier. She chuckled at them and said, You can stay for lunch before heading back home. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan exchanged a look and nodded. Neither of them was interested in the lunch, nor were they invited with a sincere heart, but they still decided to stay for politeness' sake. Otherwise, they would be pointed at by the people in the mansion. The couple had the same thought. They did not want to cause any trouble for themselves. Madame Xiao ordered the servants to take Shao Yunduan to have a seat in the hall, whilst turning to Qiao Ko. Your second sister is barely home. You can take her to your room for a while. Okay, mother. Xiao Xian nodded with a smile and guided Xiao Xian to her room. The yard was not very large. Madame Qiao had a separate yard, so did Xiao Wei. But Concubine Du and Xiao Ko shared one. Xiao Ko did not like Xiao Xian, nor did she have any interest in receiving her. But as she thought about how she could show off in front of the girl, she was very willing to bring Xiao Xian over. She sized up Xiao Xian, who was dressed in an ordinary garment. She guessed that she had not worn expensive silk clothes for a long while, and was not wearing any jewelry. She had not eaten any snacks or good tea for a while too, right? As she thought about this, Qiao Ko realized that it was worth the while to suck up to the lineal mother and sister. After the meeting was dismissed, Xiao Wei took Liulang back to her room and asked her about what she had experienced of the Shao family. Liulang had no choice, but narrated the story according to what Xiao Xian had told her. Hearing that the Shao family shared one rotten and shabby house with just a few rooms, and that Xiao Xian had to work in the field and mountains, Xiao Wei and the maids were all laughing loudly. That serves her right. Xiao Wei suddenly felt rather glad and snorted. Xiao Ko keeps talking nonsense. I know that a fragile and weak person like Xiao Xian would achieve nothing. Anyway, you can stay here. You don't need to go to the Shao family anymore. Xiao Wei did not care about the Shao family or Xiao Xian. She could give out a maid and take her back whenever she felt like it. What could Xiao Xian do? Okay, elder miss, thank you so much. Liulang was startled and thanked her happily, but she somehow felt very empty-hearted. She had been looking forward to seeing this day happen the moment she arrived at the Shao family. But when the day finally came, she was not very happy but started to miss her time there. Xiao Wei did not sense that. She would never care about a maid and continued to laugh at Xiao Xian for a while longer before ordering them to get Xiao Xian and Xiao Ko over to her place. Xiao Xian was speechless when she saw Xiao Ko showing off in front of her for a long while. Chapter 342. Lipstick Xiao Wei let out a sigh of relief when someone came to fetch her. She and Shao Yunduan had behaved well and showed no leaks, so Xiao Xian did not think that Xiao Wei would do anything to her, apart from showing off. But Xiao Ko would help, so what she needed to do was to display no expression. Sure enough, Xiao Wei was acting the same as Xiao Ko. She laughed at her and kept showing off her clothes and jewelry. Xiao Xian occasionally gave a jealous look, which was noticed by Qiao Wei, who became even prouder. But Xiao Xian had a slight change when Xiao Wei showed off the one lipstick she had bought outside. Xiao Ko had a jealous look on her face this time. Xiao Wei got one. 7 liang for one lipstick was too much for Madame Qiao to give all the time. But she had one of each color, and Ms. Su, Yang Xiaoni, and Tao Dao all had one for each other too. Xiao Ko kept asking her proudly, "You know what it is?" Xiao Xian tried her best not to reveal her look and laugh. She cooperated. What is it? I knew you would not know about it." Xiao Ko looked even prouder. She was jealous of Qiao Wei having bought lipstick, but Madame Qiao and her father refused to buy her one. But seeing Xiao Xian not knowing what that was, she felt happy. This is called lipstick, same as lip brush, but more handy and high level. Xiao Ko said with a proud tone, "It can only be bought in the province. It is sold at the Yuezheng family store, limited in quantity, very popular, but not easily bought." She turned to Xiao Wei and said with a flattering look on her, "You are lucky, sister, to have got one. Only someone like you can have a thing like this." Xiao Xian was quiet. Xiao Ko really knew how to suck up to her sister. But Xiao Wei was very glad. She snorted and said proudly, "That is true. I heard that there are many different colors, and I want to buy one of each color." Xiao Ko added with a smile, "Many people will get so jealous of you. I'm sure Mother will buy you as many as you want. So sad that someone can't even understand what it is." Xiao Xian. She glanced at Xiao Ko quickly with compassion. If they knew that the lipsticks were produced by her, they would get so jealous as to eat her up. Good that she had predicted this. She had kept it as a secret and was going to keep the secret for a long while. When they were done showing off, it was time to eat lunch. Madame Qiao had no interest in receiving them, and asked Concubine Du to receive them. Concubine Du did not like Xiao Xian either, and left after telling the kitchen and the servants what they should serve. Therefore, only Xiao Xian and Shao Yunwan were at the table. The original host would have been annoyed and felt sad and bullied, but Xiao Xian did not care. She even consoled Shao Yunwan, who consoled her back, though he felt that she was treated so unfairly. He was really concerned about her. Chapter 343. For festival, the couple had fun during lunch. After all, it was lunch provided by the parents, and they should eat it well. After lunch, the couple waved goodbye and left. Officer Qjao was nowhere to be seen, and he would not bother seeing them off, nor would anyone else. The couple loved the way it was handled and left the Qiao family smoothly. As for Liulang, they had not seen her since they walked into the mansion, and Xiao Xian seemed to have forgotten about her existence. Shao Yunwan took hold of Xiao Xian's hands gently as he said in a mild yet irritated voice, "I will definitely hit the high level of the examination, and they would never be able to bully you ever after that." Xiao Xian smiled. "They're just strangers in my eyes, and their well-being has nothing to do with me. I believe that you will make it, but don't get too stressed about it. Stay calm, just calm. You could never hit the goal if you were too hasty or stressed." Shao Yunwan smiled and felt relaxed. "Don't worry, I know what to do." He paused before adding, "Let's go home." Xiao Xian smiled and looked at him with a pair of sparkling eyes. "Okay, let's go home." Soon it was mid-autumn day, and they made mooncakes as well as many delicious dishes. They killed the duck to make crispy duck, bought the lamb chops to make pan-fried lamb chops, as well as crispy roasted pork with the braised hoof and the golden brown and crispy skin. The fish and shrimp in the river were quite plump at this time. 2 days before the mid-autumn day, Xiao Xian and Xiao Xiaoqi went to catch fish. They got a lot of fish, and they were lucky enough to get 2 soft-shell turtles. On the mid-autumn day, dishes such as braised eel segments, prawns and tomato sauce, boiled fish fillets, and crispy small river fish were served on the table. The whole family celebrated the day together. What Xiao Xian and Shao Yunwan had not expected was that Yuezheng Shao also had some presents delivered to them. The gifts included exquisitely made mooncakes at the store in the province, 6 jars of fine liquor, as well as several other snacks and pastries, fresh fruits, lotus roots, and water chestnuts. Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan accepted them happily, especially lotus roots and water chestnuts, which Xiao Xian was very satisfied with. Lotus roots were delicious while making cold dishes, stewed soup, or even when they were fried. Water chestnuts could also be fried, but it was more delicious when they were steamed. The fruits at Xiao Xian's yard had ripened too. Jujubes, pears, grapes, pomegranates were the common ones, and she expected that Yuezheng Shao would not be too interested in them, so she picked 4 large bergamots. The bergamot, which grew up under the care of her superpower, were particularly stylish and beautiful. They were huge, with long and straight claws, beautiful at the first glance. The golden color simply had no flaws. The scent given out was very nice too. It held a special significance in Buddhism, prepared by madams and ladies of rich families. It was not easy to buy things like these. In addition to the bergamot, the figs were also ripe, and the branches were covered with dense fruit. Xiao Xian picked 2 full baskets and gave them to Chushan. There were fresh mushrooms and wooden ears as well. All of them were produced at her home, not very easy to buy. After the mid-autumn day, the days became colder. The rice was growing well and could be harvested within a month's time. They got more than 10 kilograms of honey wax from the honey in the floral field, which was enough for the lipsticks to be processed. Chapter 344. Harvest. The honey would be kept for themselves to eat, or save as presents after selling more than 50 kilograms to Mingrentang. The other medical herbs were growing well, but they could only be harvested every 3rd year. With Xiao Xian's superpower, they could be harvested every 2nd year. But she did not want to overdo it, otherwise it would be too unreasonable. The gastrodia dug from the mountains had already grown. After speaking with Manager Qin, Xiao Xian asked Miss Su to harvest more than 1 mu of it. The gastrodia grew very well, and they had harvested more than 500 kilograms from 1 mu. It was of great quality too. They obtained more than 2,300 liang at one go. Manager Qin got so happy and expressed that they should sell as many of these plants as possible in the future. Xiao Xian gave Ms. Fong 200 liang and 150 liang to everyone except for eldest uncle. Qi and Tao Dao got the biggest portion, while Shao Dalong and Shao Sanlang, as well as their wives, received an equal amount. Everyone was very happy, and Ms. Su could not help but start to count the money she had saved in the room. Yang Xiaoni and Shao Sanlang got so excited that they talked about going into the town and buying some food to eat. But before they were done with discussion, Ms. Fong took away half of the savings and saved it up. Xiao Xian counted her savings and found that she had 6,300 liang in total. Good. Xiao Xian smiled. It had indeed been a great year. The roses could still bloom 2 times. After they bloomed, they needed to be pruned again, and her superpower could be applied to let them continue to flourish in the winter with energy. What she needed to do was to wait for the coming year when big and gorgeous flowers would grow vividly. She needed to go back and work on the lipsticks. Ms. Su, Yang Xiaoni, and Tao Dao were all ready to help Xiao Xian with that. They were very occupied, but it was highly motivating as well. They could earn 41 a day. They could earn a lot already, but this was another way of making money. When the first batch of lipstick was made, the flowers were trimmed, nourished with water. Also, Xiao Xian put some of her superpower in it. As a result, after 2 weeks, the last batch of the lipsticks of the year could be put into production. She calculated and realized that they could make more than 1,500 in total. In that way, she could get more than tens of thousands of liang in properties. When the first batch of lipsticks were made, the rice was ready to be harvested. Autumn harvest was a busy period and much more tiring compared to spring plowing. The most feared thing when drying the grain was the rain. But in this season, a dark cloud and a shower often came, exhausting people. Every household was praying to heaven to bestow good weather upon them. They would not feel relieved until they had the sun-dried grains put away in the storage. If it rained during the sun drying, the millet would turn black, and the accumulated millet would ferment and then germinate, which was equivalent to complete waste. During the autumn harvest, everyone was racing against time to get good weather. Therefore, even if they had money and wanted to hire someone to harvest, it was very difficult to book the laborers on time. The first section of the family was lucky to have managed to hire people who worked for them for 2 days, and the grains were all brought in. The whole family went into the field, while Xiao Xian and Ms. Fong took care of young babies and made food at home, doing all kinds of housework. Tao Dao, Qi, and Shao Yinduan went into the field and worked hard. Chapter 345, Weather Forecast. Autumn harvest differed from spring plowing. It required good timing. Taking advantage of the good weather and the bright sun, they needed to quickly harvest the mature rice and dry it in the sun. Otherwise, if it rained, especially for several days in a row, it would be a complete waste. Xiao Xian was a bit sorry about not having been able to develop her abilities of forecasting the weather. By sensing the sensitive changes of plants to the weather and the amount of moisture in the air, she could predict whether there would be rain or not. Now, she could only predict the weather changes half a day ahead. But that was already good enough for this time of the year. She was able to know the future weather conditions half a day in advance, and that could help everyone perfectly avoid showers and ensure that the recovered food would not be wet by the rain. When the grains were recovered, the rain came down the following afternoon. Xiao Xian hurriedly told her family more than half an hour in advance that it might rain in a while, and the rice had to be quickly gathered and covered with something or carried to the house or under the eaves. Ms. Fong was a bit skeptical, but Shao Yunduan stressed that Xiao Xian knew a bit about weather forecasts, and Ms. Fong was used to trusting Xiao Xian. Thus, she followed what she was told. Xiao Xian thought about the other families and told Ms. Fong ask Xiao Dalong to inform the others. It was a very important thing for them to harvest since rain would ruin everything. Xiao Dalong was honest, and when he passed on the message, people tended to believe him. Hearing what Xiao Dalong said, the villagers looked up and saw the shining sun, laughing at him. Yuezheng, you must be confused. Look at the fine weather. How can it start to rain soon? Yeah, don't joke about it at this time. What about your own home? You can't have put the rice away. Xiao Dalong found the message a bit confusing too. He laughed as he scratched his head. Yeah, we have, but the weather changes a lot, and we need to be very careful. When Xiao Dalong was gone, everyone started to get very confused and hesitant too. Is it real? I don't think Yuezheng likes joking about, but what does he know? He is kind, but he is not so capable. Yeah, let's just watch out for the weather. Soon the wind blasted, and the sunlight faded away. Someone's heart skipped a beat, and he started to put away the rice. We need to be careful about everything. Yeah, it seems that Yuezheng is right. I think the weather is changing too. But isn't it a normal change? It won't rain, will it? So those who put away the rice had no problem with their crops because soon the rain poured down. Those hesitant ones did not make it, and some rice was unfortunately wet. They just hoped that the rain would not last for too long. From that time on, some families who had been in a good relationship with the first section of the family kept their eyes on how the first section of the family moved. They would follow suit seeing when the first section of the family started to put away rice. Therefore, after a while, the first section of the family became the indicator of weather. Xiao Xian did not stand out to say so, and when they were asked, they all said that it was Shao Yunduan who had learned that from books and gained some knowledge about it. Chapter 346, Teaching for Free. The villagers suddenly felt a lot of respect for him. Cultivated talent is very different from the rest of us. Yeah, that is why he is a cultivated talent. He is so smart. A cultivated talent knows everything. Due to the autumn harvest, Xiao Liulang happened to be at home on the break from the college. Hearing the rumor, he felt so jealous that he sneered. He doesn't read anything from the books. He is just trying to fool you all. The first section of the family was not helping the second and the third section of the family for the autumn harvest because they already owed them so much labor fees. The second and third section of the family got really annoyed, and only eldest uncle was willing to offer help. Therefore, Xiao Liulang was even more sour about Xiao Yunduan. But what could be done anyway? The first section of the family was no longer helping them for free. If they've dared to challenge them, that would show the contract to them. They had helped with the spring plow and would not continue to help them for free. Xiao Liulang was feeling very unconvinced. He went to Xiao Yunduan and showed a fake smile. I wonder what books you have read, cousin. Can you loan the books to me? Xiao Xian was mumbling about this annoying man inside her heart when Xiao Yunduan said calmly, I am afraid not. Why? You are so stingy. Xiao Yunduan replied, I came across the book when I was in the province, but I did not buy it. Xiao Liulang. He did not trust his cousin's words, but he had no evidence to prove that Xiao Yunduan was lying to him. Xiao Liulang continued in a forceful voice. Oh, but how do you forecast the weather? What is the basis for it? Can I learn that too? Before Xiao Yunduan said anything, Miss Fong got quite displeased. Liulang, you are behaving over the top. Why must he teach you for free? Xiao Xin added, Yeah, he has mastered the skill, and he is not going to teach anyone for free. You can pay him to teach you. Xiao Yunduan glanced at him and said nothing more. In silence, he agreed with what Xiao Xian and Ms. Fong said. Also, that made sense. He had no obligation to share his skills with others for free. Anyone who understood that would not even ask about it. Xiao Liulang snapped and said, Then I am going to remind you, cousin, that you are just fooling others. Be careful not to show your fox's tail. Ms. Fong shouted, What are you talking about? Xiao Liulang stiffened and left the place in pretentious calmness. Ms. Fong shouted behind his back, Don't come to our door if you're going to continue to talk nonsense. Stay away from us, as far away as possible. What kind of a man is that? Ms. Fong sneered. Yunduan, just leave him alone. He's just narrow-minded and jealous. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Don't worry, mother. I don't care. Xiao Xian whispered to him. Don't stress. I won't allow you to show your fox's tail. Xiao Yunduan smiled and tilted his head, looking at her. Okay. After the autumn harvest, Xiao Xian and Tao Tao continued making lipsticks. Xiao Liulang was ready to take the examination. He would make it to a cultivated talent if he passed it. Ms. Ma and third uncle even took Xiao Liulang to Qjao, to the ancestors, and asked for their blessings. Chapter 347. Furious Ms. Ma and third uncle were very confident. The reason why they were confident was that if Xiao Yunduan could make it, so could their son. Ms. Ma was quite displeased thinking that Xiao Yunduan became the cultivated talent before her son did, so she went to Ms. Fong again and uttered a few sour words. Ms. Fong said firmly, My son is a cultivated talent anyway. That was a fact that could not be changed. Ms. Ma was indeed furious. The result was announced soon, but Xiao Liulang and third uncle were both quite distressed after checking the result in town. Ms. Ma's heart skipped a beat as she forced a small smile looking at their faces. Doesn't it look good? It is okay, as long as you cleared the level. Xiao Liulang threw her an expressionless look, snorted, and returned to his room. Oh well. Ms. Ma turned to look at third uncle. Before the third uncle was able to say anything, the eldest uncle asked concernedly, How is it? Did Liulang make it? Third uncle instantly burst into anger. Eldest brother, you are here to joke with us and poke us in the heart, right? Your son was lucky enough to make it, and he even has a wonderful wife. You don't need to show off here. What did you say? Eldest uncle was shocked. He looked unconvinced and replied, I am here because I care about Liulang. You are not showing care towards us. Third uncle said angrily, You are laughing at us. Elder uncle's eyes widened. But, do you mean to say that Liulang didn't make it? What? Ms. Ma's eyes widened as she screamed. How could that be possible? My son is so talented. How could he fail when Yunduan made it? It must be a huge mistake. Eldest uncle frowned slightly at what Ms. Ma said, but he could not complain about this. He opened his mouth and was about to say something, but then he sighed in silence. Third uncle left in a hurry, saying nothing more. What else could he possibly say? Ms. Ma was still in shock as she mumbled, That is not possible. My son failed. But he can do anything. How can he fail? Eldest uncle sighed, glanced at Ms. Ma, and felt equally disturbed. He was very happy when his son Shao Yunwan made it, because that was an honor for him. But he could not show off in front of the third section of the family when Xiao Liulang failed, fearing to hurt them deeply. For some reason, he could not help but feel a bit guilty when Xiao Yunwan made it, but Xiao Liulang did not. He had hoped that both Xiao Yunwan and Xiao Liulang could make it to a high level. But Xiao Liulang failed once again. Sigh. Eldest uncle sighed, feeling distressed. No wonder his third brother snapped at him. Third sister-in-law. Eldest uncle felt that if he left without saying a thing, the situation would be even more embarrassing. So he sighed emotionally. You don't need to be distressed. Liulang is still young, and he can try again next time. Don't worry, he will definitely make it. Ms. Ma glared at eldest uncle. What if he fails again? Eldest uncle was startled. What? Ms. Ma sneered. Eldest brother, don't laugh at us. I know that you are happy that your son made it, but you can't possibly stab me in my heart, right? Chapter 348. Messing hurt and saddened? Of course, she was saddened. Liulang was young, but Yunwan was not much older than him. He was just laughing at Liulang. Next time. But the future could never be predicted. She had decided that he was just laughing at them. The more Ms. Ma thought about this, the angrier she became. She sneered with a sunk face. Eldest brother, your family is different from the past now. Your door's threshold is high now, too high for us to cross. You can go home now. You don't have to visit us anymore. If you don't have anything else to say. Eldest uncle felt his chest hurt. Third sister-in-law, I am Liulang's uncle, and I really hope that he can do well. Ms. Ma sneered and said ironically, these words are too much for us. We don't need your hope. Those were fine words, but the first section of the family never did them any good during the past half a year. Eldest brother just wanted to have a good reputation for himself without making any contributions. She was not going to allow that to happen. Eldest uncle was shocked. He felt his heart breaking. He moved his lips and said nothing more. He finally left with a sigh. The moment eldest uncle left, Ms. Nyo came and smiled. Hey, did your son make it? Ms. Ma threw her a fierce look. Oh God. Ms. Nyo clapped, feeling sorry. That is a pity. That was not what she actually felt in her heart. She was actually cheering happily. This was excellent. Otherwise, only her family would lack a cultivated talent. It would be bad. Seeing Ms. Ma's long face, Ms. Nyo came up with an idea and smiled. Don't be sad about it. Your son studies hard, and he should have made it. It must have been sheer luck due to which it didn't happen. Ms. Ma glared at Ms. Nyo, looking distressed. She hated to hear those words. Before she said anything, Ms. Nyo winked and said, Hey, Ms. Xiao's father is county magistrate. Maybe you can ask her for help. Perhaps she can speak with her father and help your son a little. Maybe your son passed the examination, but they made a mistake while evaluating his paper. Ms. Ma's eyes brightened. Her heart started to throb. Yeah, my son must have passed, but they made a mistake while going through the paper. It must have been like that. Ms. Ma grabbed third uncle's arm and said, Hey. Ms. Nyo pursed her lips. She felt quite glad that Ms. Ma was convinced. The first section of the family was so annoying, and she should cause them some trouble. But she needed to follow along. If Ms. Qjao did ask her father to help the third section of the family, then she needed to stop her. Soon, Ms. Ma and third uncle came out, and Ms. Nyo tagged along. Let's go to the first section of the family. Let's go. Hearing that Xiao Liulang and third uncle had gone home after receiving the result, Ms. Fong said after a moment, Yo, Liulang fails again. Xiao Xin laughed. How do you know, Mom? Of course, Ms. Fong said naturally. They would have come to us a long time ago showing off and spreading the news across the whole village. Startled, Xiao Xin thought about it and nodded with a chuckle. You are totally right, Mom. Chapter 349. Wasted money. Ms. Fong sighed emotionally. Why didn't he make it? I thought he would. He has been devoted to studies for so long and has spent so much money. What more can he do after he has failed so many times? Ms. Fong did not like them, but she never wished anything bad for them. On the contrary, she wished that they could live a happy life so that her family could be left alone. Xiao Xian smiled. Mom, my husband is the only cultivated talent in the whole village, so I am sure that it is never easy to become one. If that was an easy task, the title would not be so valuable anymore. As for what Shao Liulang would do if he kept failing, Xiao Xian did not dwell on it. It had nothing to do with her. Ms. Fong smiled as she heard her daughter-in-law. True, but soon she felt concerned. But so much money was spent on him. It is very costly to cultivate a student. They were just talking when Ms. Niu, Ms. Ma, and third uncle rushed into the house. Eldest sister-in-law. Ms. Ma looked as if she had seen a savior and the light at the end of a tunnel. She rushed towards Ms. Fong and took hold of her hand tightly. Eldest sister-in-law, you have to help us right now. I will do anything for you if you help us. Oh, Ms. Fong was quite shocked and pulled her hand out. Third sister-in-law, what is going on? Eldest sister-in-law. Third uncle sighed as they walked in and took a seat. My son has been working very hard on his studies, right? You have witnessed, yes. Our son has always been devoted to his studies, and the teachers at the college speak well of him. As they were talking, eldest uncle, Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian, as well as the other members of the first section of the family, gathered together as well. Everyone was very curious as to what was going on. After all, Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma never liked Ms. Fong. So, what made Ms. Ma promise to do anything for them? Something big must be going on. Third uncle said, but Liulang failed at the examination. How could that be possible? Ms. Ma nodded constantly. Yes, even your son made it. And our son should have made it too. I mean, our son is smart, devoted, and he couldn't have failed like this. Ms. Fong felt quite uncomfortable hearing that she was speaking ill of her son. She sneered inwardly, knowing that the couple must be up to no good. Doing anything for her? That was impossible. They would never change what their character was from within. You are here to tell me this? Well, I don't know anything about it. What is the point of telling me about it? Eldest uncle added. Yeah, third brother and sister-in-law. Liulang is still young, and he will definitely make it in the future. Don't stress him too much. Third uncle and Ms. Ma did not like what they heard. Yeah, your son had made it, so you could say whatever you wanted. If your son had failed, you would not have said something like this. Third uncle said, Elder brother, elder sister-in-law, we don't believe that Liulang really failed. We suspect that his paper has been wrongly judged. Hence, could the fifth niece-in-law just tell her father, Officer Qjao, to check the paper for us? We are a family, and if Liulang makes it and has a promising future, we will pay back this favor to Officer Qjao. Chapter 350. Talk with senior people. Third uncle was worried that what had been said was not straightforward enough, so he clarified again. Of course, we won't let Officer Qjao do that for free. We will prepare enough presents to thank him. He almost said that he wanted Officer Qjao to cheat by helping add Shao Liulang's name to the list. Ms. Fong and eldest uncle had not expected that third uncle and Ms. Ma would have thought about such a method. They, for a moment, had no idea what the family was talking about. Shao Yunduan's facial expressions changed, and he said coldly, Are you crazy? Third uncle and third aunt? Eldest uncle immediately reacted. Yunduan, what are you talking about? They were already in a bad mood since their son failed the examination, and he was just adding fuel to the oil. Shao Yunduan said coldly, Dad, have you understood what they mean? They're trying to make Officer Qjao cheat by adding Liulang's name on the list. That is crazy. If it is revealed, Liulang will never be able to attend any examination in the future, and Officer Qjao will lose his job, and he may be imprisoned too. You think this is a minor thing? Ms. Fong shouted furiously. You are just mental. How can you even think about this? Ms. Ma was shocked, but still replied. You don't need to frighten us. It is not that serious. I just think that the paper is erroneously judged. It is a situation where a wrong needs to be made right. Shao Yunduan responded in a clear voice. If you really think that the paper is wrongly marked, you can send the paper to the government office and ask the authority there to do a re-examination. Officer Qjao can't make this decision. If you don't believe me, you can ask your son yourselves. Going to the government office? That was not possible. They would not be okay heading to a strange city in the province. Also, Ms. Ma did not think that it would work out favorably for them. That was not a place for people like them to be at. Hence, she still insisted. It means that they can recheck the paper, right? That is reasonable, isn't it? As long as Officer Xiao was willing to offer the help, they could find any kind of excuse to do so. No one would dare counter that. Also, Ms. Ma was confident that her son must have been wrongly judged on the paper. Third uncle was also somehow confident. Yes, as long as Officer Qiao can extend a hand, we can definitely make it. Eldest brother, eldest sister-in-law, please, this is about Shao Lulang's future. We are begging you. Shao Yunduan did not have any idea what more to say, but sneered. You think it is very easy to recheck the paper? If it was an easy thing, every participant would do so, and the whole situation would get messy. I told you, the officer and scholars should join forces to recheck the paper. Maybe some learned people would come forward and take a look at it as well. If there is any problem with it, then it would be Officer Qiao's fault not to have recruited the right talents and get seriously punished. If the result is the same, your son will be hit and forbidden to participate in the examination again in the future. Who told you that Officer Qiao has the right to make that call? If you don't believe me, you can go to the office and ask about it. Xiao Xin smiled. He is right. It is a huge thing if a mistake on the paper is done, and any wrong result can cause someone's death. You must be mental to have suspected the fairness of the recruitment. Ms. Ma was not convinced. You are just frightening us. Then you can go and visit the province yourself. Xiao Xin sneered. You have nothing to lose, right? Chapter 351. Not waking up? You can't just go to the county, you have to go to the province. Oh, if you don't believe me, you can go to the county office first, and see if you return after some punishment. Eldest uncle frowned at Xiao Xin. He was very displeased by what Xiao Xin said. She sounded quite impolite. He moved his lips, but said nothing eventually. Miss Fong was really furious by this point. She got up and started to drive them away. Just leave us alone. One more word and you'll get out of the family. If you want to get yourself killed, do so. Don't drag us down. Shao Yunduan said. What about first asking your son what he wants? Xiao Xin could not help but add. You keep saying that your son is smart and devoted, good at studies, but did the teacher tell you all of these things personally? How could they be so confident that Shao Liulang failed because his paper had been wrongly judged? Third uncle was startled and almost jumped after what he heard. What do you mean? I mean what I said. Xiao Xin pursed her lips. I won't believe what I don't see or hear myself. Shao Yunduan almost burst into laughter, but tugged at Xiao Xin. All right, let's just drop it. He knew pretty well whether the teacher spoke highly of Shao Liulang, and whether Shao Liulang was smart and devoted, as he claimed. But he was not going to tell the truth to the public, since his cousin wanted to brag about his non-existent skills. After all, he would not be able to offer any evidence to the family. They might even call him jealous. But Xiao Xin was so straightforward that she said it out loud. Third uncle snapped. Don't you dare slander our son, just because you are jealous of him. Xiao Xin rolled her eyes and countered. My husband is already a cultivated talent, and he is going to the next level next year. What am I jealous of? Jealous of you who will never make it to a cultivated talent? You, elder uncle's heart almost skipped a beat. Just drop it, Miss Qiao. His brother and sister-in-law were already having a bad time, and Ms. Qiao kept poking their wounds. They were going to end up having a fight. Xiao Xin was not afraid of eldest uncle. Instead, she said, Dad, I'm just reminding third uncle and third aunt out of kindness. They can believe me if they want to. I didn't want to tell them this much, nor did I have the intention of arguing with them, because there is no point in arguing about this. I'm not that bored, after all. to go to Minghua College and ask about this. Eldest uncle. Ms. Qiao's words could always annoy him. Ms. Fong laughed and nodded and said, Ms. Qiao is totally right. She was not mocking them, but the third section of the family had been way over the top in their conduct, and she just could not help it. Ms. Ma snapped. Why ask the teachers at college? Yunduan is here. Yunduan, just tell us if the teachers speak highly of your cousin and call him devoted and learned or not. Shao Yunduan. He really did not want to tell lies. I only focus on my own studies. I'm not sure if the teachers have spoken highly of my cousin. If you want to know about it, just ask him yourself. Chapter 352. Shao Liulang's uncertainty. What do you mean? Third uncle asked him with force. He panicked for some reason. He subconsciously felt that what Xiao Xin said was right, but he just could not accept it. Feeling confused, third uncle glared at Xiao Xin and Shao Yunduan, sneering. You could just put it straightforwardly that you don't want to help us. Why do you still accuse my son? You are just jealous, and you just don't want him to become good. Just wait and see. Proverb says that rain takes turns in pouring down. You can be as proud as you want, but my son will become far more excellent than you. Ms. Ma snorted. True. Let's see whose turn it is to beg in the future. Ms. Fong felt so annoyed when hearing their impolite words to her son. She snapped. Then let's see what happens. No matter what happens to my son, I will never turn to you for help. Anyways, we have never turned to you for any help ever. Third uncle got so annoyed that he ignored Ms. Fong and shouted at Ms. Ma. Let's just go. Ms. Neo chuckled as she watched the whole show. Then she left with a couple of the third section of the family. Ms. Fong glared at eldest uncle. Look at your brother's family. What kind of people are they? Yunduan is better than Liulang, so what? They can speak highly of their son if they want to, but why must they talk down to our Yunduan? I do hope that everyone can live a good life, but they don't wish so. They hope that we will have a hard life, so we can turn to them for help. But honestly, if that day really comes, do you think that they will help you? Having said that, Ms. Fong left angrily without waiting for eldest uncles. Shao Yunduan left along with Xiao Xian. The others all dispersed into different directions as well. Eldest uncle felt his heart breaking down. He had done nothing wrong, but why did he feel that everyone else believed that he had done something wrong? What had he done wrong? He was just feeling sorry for his third brother and third sister-in-law. He was their family, and he should feel sympathetic towards them, right? It was not good to laugh at them or counter them, no? When it came to the third section of the family, Ms. Ma got so annoyed that she cursed Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan. The couple knocked at Shao Liulang's door and asked him about what happened. Both of them talked one by one, and they exaggerated certain things to make the story sound reasonable. After a long while, Shao Liulang finally understood what they were talking about. He could not help but feel moved. Yes, he was very confident about his abilities, but why did he fail again? Maybe the paper was wrongly judged after all? If the paper could be rechecked, he might make it to the next level. Seeing the expression on his face, Ms. Ma got excited and snapped. Ms. Xiao and my nephew are just liars. They keep frightening us and saying that we can't do this unless we want trouble coming to us. They just don't allow us to flourish. Shao Liulang brought himself back and his face changed. Just forget about it. The results can't be changed once they are out. Third uncle and Ms. Ma found what he said even more motivating. They could not forget about it, but got increasingly driven. Forced, Shao Liulang had to spill the truth. Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were totally right. Just forget about it. It isn't a good deal. Officers are not that easy to speak to. What if they pick on us? We are just civilians, unable to counter them. Chapter 353. Mountain and Autumn. Third uncle and Ms. Ma both fell silent. They were quite taken aback. Ms. Ma burst into tears. Then what can we do? Poor Liulang. Your paper has been wrongly judged. How terrible it is. Shao Liulang also looked as if that was true. Third uncle hesitated for a moment and asked discreetly, rubbing his hands. Liulang, just tell me the truth. How are you doing in college? What knowledge have you obtained? Do teachers speak highly of you often? Xiao Liulang felt quite confused, wondering what his father was talking about that he asked these questions all of a sudden. Ms. Ma could not hold a secret, but said angrily, Shao Yunduan and Ms. Xiao say that you are just bragging about being spoken highly of by the teachers. The teachers couldn't have ignored you, but turned to him instead, right? Xiao Lilang's face changed as he said coldly, just ignore what they told you. They just wish that we are worse than them. What good things can come out of their mouths? That is true. All right, I need a break, just leave me alone. But, just leave me alone. Xiao Liulang pushed his parents out of the room and shut the door. He let out a breath, feeling his cheeks heat up. He managed to lie to his parents, but felt quite uncertain inwardly. Why was Xiao Yunduan saying this about him? He was plain lucky to have reached where he was, and he was not in a position to accuse him of anything. Xiao Liulang clenched his teeth angrily. After grains went into the granary, and the last batch of lipsticks of the year were ready, the weather became much cooler. The leaves on the mountain were also gradually changing color and falling. The color-changing trees were mixed in the evergreen green mountains and forests, which was very beautiful. Xiao Xian did a count. They had 1,536 lipsticks in total with 4 different colors by now. She decided to produce 1 batch of lip balms. It was much easier to make lip balms, but the remaining beeswax was only enough for around 1,000 pieces, according to her experience. They could not get any more beeswax in autumn because soon winter was coming and the bees were all busy preparing for the winter. They had to wait for the spring next year to make more lipsticks. For Xiao Xian and those who were good at it, lip balms were much easier to make compared to lipsticks, more handy. The 4 of them made 150 pieces within 1 day. After 3 days, they slowed down the pace. Many things started to ripen in the mountains when autumn came, and Xiao Xian was eager to pay a visit there. The grapes in her garden were also ripe. According to Xiao Xiaoqi and Tao Tao, they were bigger than the original wild grapes growing on the mountain, and they were also sweeter and far more delicious. In fact, the wild grapes in the mountains were relatively small, but the ones in her garden were all big bunches. Xiao Xian was glad that her superpower helped her with all such things. Everyone didn't think it was too strange. They just assumed that the grapes grew well because they often took good care of them and fertilized them so that they could grow better than the wild ones. In addition to the wild grapes, the dates, pomegranates, and lemons in the garden were also ripe. The persimmons were still a little bit sour, but they would soon ripen. This season was the time when the wild grapes were present the most in mountains. Xiao Xian wanted to get some more. She was going to wash them, drain them, and mash them into large porcelain jars to let them ferment naturally to make some wine. It was a pity that the mountain grapes were not big enough, but the core was not small, otherwise they could have tried to convert them into raisins. There were many mushrooms, which also grew in autumn. Those were picked to be dried, and they should be delicious when eaten. Chapter 354. In the mountains again, Xiao Xian had been thinking about the creeping figs and expected that they would be ripe by this point. Each fruit was slightly larger than an egg. They could pick it and bring out a pack of finely crushed seeds from inside and dry it in the sun. When they wanted to eat the jelly, they could wash it with water and let it condense. They could break the transparent jelly in a bowl, add some sugar water, a little mint juice, and some other nuts. That was the taste she had been thinking about for a long time. When the work in the farm wasn't that heavy, Xiao Dalong and Ms. Su and others waited for Xiao Xian to go into the mountain together. Xiao Yunwan also wanted to take a break from his studies, so he offered to tag along. Xiao Xian got quite motivated being in the environment where she was surrounded by plants. Since it was autumn, when the liveliness wasn't that strong, she was slightly slower in using her superpower. Xiao Xian decided to find some wild grapes in the first 2 days, as well as other things. But birds in the woods love to eat wild grapes, so they needed to hurry up before the birds pecked the plants. Wine made with grapes could be brewed easily, so they had 3 large jars that could hold at least 100 kilograms of wild grapes. Therefore, they only needed to get around 100 kilograms of wild grapes. They were going to remove the veins and the rotten and bad fruits. Wild grapes were plants with veins, and they kept climbing up to the top of the trees so as to get plenty of sunlight. Therefore, it was not an easy job to get the grapes. There were mountain grapes also present in low and wide places, but often the mountain grapes in low places did not grow well, and the output was very low. Xiao was quite familiar with the woods, and he was quite happy and energetic. There were all kinds of wild fruits in the mountains, especially in the sparsely populated and densely forested mountains. Soon, Xiao saw the wild grapes hanging on the top of the pine trees, as he said with a smile, "Look, the grapes are there." "Yes, they're grapes. They look delicious." "I agree." Shao Sanlang and his wife said the last 2 words. The tree was not too tall, and twigs were very thick, so Xiao Zai climbed up very easily while the others were just looking up at him. Soon Xiao came down and had half of the basket filled with fruits. The fresh fruits were so beautiful, and they all started to try some. They were lucky, as there were no birds visiting this grape tree, and the clusters were quite complete. Each bunch was about the size of 3 fingers and as long as a palm, and they were tangled tightly together. Each cluster was small, but quite pretty. They were sharing the fruits, sweet and sour, amidst the unique freshness of the woods. Very delicious. We could take so many of them back each year. Xiao loved the taste too, a bit sour and sweet, suitable for winemaking. They were eating the grapes while they walked forward. Xiao used her superpower and picked the place where wild grapes were abundant. Soon, they ran into a patch of land where wild grapes were growing best. There are so many of them. Yes, so many. Chapter 355. Harvest. It seems that there are many wild grapes in the mountains this year. Otherwise, how could they easily find one patch of land full of it? They all nodded in agreement. Their arrival had startled the animals who were eating the grapes. Soon, some birds took off. The trees were relatively high here, and some twigs were quite fragile. So, they needed to be careful not to break them. They were all aware of this. As they were talking, they all went up onto different trees. Only Shao Yunduan and Xiao Xian remained on the ground. They exchanged a look and laughed. Xiao Xian said with a smile, "We are just waiting for the food to come to us." Xiao Yunduan smiled. "That is our ability too." Xiao Xian laughed. Her husband had learned to speak tricky words, but the couple were not idle. Xiao Xian just glanced about with her superpower. This plain-looking forest was actually a huge feast for the eyes of Xiao Xian. There were treasures everywhere. She could see roosters, rabbits, muntjac, and all kinds of wild birds. But she could not do anything about it. Still, she couldn't help wanting to pick all kinds of mushrooms in the forest. There were many kinds of straw mushrooms, pine mushrooms, side ears, large mushrooms, enoki mushrooms, and shiitake mushrooms. Although the quantity of each type was not large, the 2 of them still found quite a lot of them. By this point, they had not yet walked too far away. 1 hour later, those on the trees came down. Their baskets were filled with stuff, and they poured the grapes into 2 large baskets carefully. They had harvested at least 20 kilograms of grapes. That was a big harvest for wild-growing grapes. Seeing that Xiao Xian and Shao Yunduan had got many mushrooms, they all cheered. They were going to have a lot to eat during dinner. They knew pretty well how tasty and fresh mushrooms in the mountains were. Shao Sanlang patted Qi's shoulders. "Qi, come on. You should catch at least 2 wild roosters for the mushrooms." They all laughed. The team walked forward, and within an hour's time, they found grapes again. This patch wasn't as large, but they were still enough. They almost managed to fill up their baskets after this trip. So, Shao Sanlang and Yang Xiaoni went home with the grapes first. Otherwise, it would be too tiring to carry them around. Shao Sanlang still reminded Xiao as he was about to leave. "Qi, don't forget about the roosters, or even rabbits will do." Xiao Xin laughed. Xiao threw a helpless look at him. "Don't worry, third brother. I am definitely going to get some. As the couple left, Xiao and the rest were holding cloth bags. They stopped looking for grapes, but turned to search for mushrooms and wild animals. They had more than 30 kilograms of grapes today, and they needed to deal with them before continuing the next day. Xiao could focus on finding the creeping figs at this moment, but she did not find any. Instead, she found some more mushrooms while Shao Xiaogi got 3 roosters and 5 small birds before they all headed home. On the way home, they got 1 muntjac. It was not that hot, especially during the night when the temperature dropped tremendously. The animals could stay fresh even when they were not processed on the same day. But they could not be put there for too long. They got down to work as soon as they came home. They needed to process the grapes overnight. They washed them, picked them off the twigs, filtered them, and put them in the jars. Chapter 356. Yuezheng Shao and Jingrong, the 30 kilograms of mushrooms were sorted by Xiao, who processed them well. Some not-so-good-looking ones were picked out for dinner, and others were sun-dried. Thanks to the bright sun during the daytime, they should be put away after a few days. They almost finished the sun-dried mushrooms in spring, and what they had found today would be enough for them to make soup and hot pot in winter. They decided to eat 2 roosters and 2 birds for dinner. The remaining animals would be put in Xiao's yard. Roosters were never that big, and the amount was enough for the large family. As the 2 birds were stewed with yams, 1 rooster had the breast meat sliced, marinated and battered, then stir-fried with fresh mushrooms. The rest was cut into dices and added with only ginger, garlic, and scallions for braise. A plate of stir-fried wax gourd, a bowl of dry stir-fried beans, and a wolfberry sprout soup were served during dinner. Ms. Fong would not have minded to share some animals with the second and third section of the family in the past. But due to what Ms. Ma and third uncle did a while ago, and the ridiculous request they put forward as well as the annoying look of Ms. Niu, Ms. Fong was really disgusted with them. So Ms. Fong was not going to share anything with them at all. Eldest uncle had not yet said a thing when Ms. Fong snapped at him, so he fell silent. No one cared if he was happy about it or not. Anyways, they were already used to ignoring his feelings. He could not influence anyone around. After walking in the mountain for 3 days, they had found enough grapes. If they wanted to eat them in the future, they could bring them back in small quantities. But it was really not necessary because Xiao's garden had them, and the fruits were particularly large, even bigger than the authentic wild ones. They even got many mushrooms, some of which were fresh and some were sun-dried. They discovered a small patch of date forest, which had 7 or 8 trees, thick in trunk with a diameter of 30 centimeters. The dates were already ripe, crispy, and sweet. They paid a visit to the mountain 2 times and got all the red, ripe ones down. They carried them home to dry. These would be made into dried dates, added to the stewed soup, added to the tea, to the porridge, or eaten as snacks. They could also be used to make date cakes or date paste fillings. In addition, there were other wild fruits that could not be named, which were weird in shape and different in colors. Xiao could use her superpower to determine whether the fruits were poisonous or not. Actually, those wild children growing in the mountains could always tell that as well. Shao Xiaoqi and Shao Taodao got a few and presented them to Xiao. After taking a break for 2 days at home, they decided to go into the mountains to find the creeping figs when Yuezheng, Shao, and Jingrong arrived there unexpectedly. Only now did Xiao and Shao Yunduan remember that they were here to hunt with them. Yuezheng, Shao, and Jingrong were afraid of drawing the county magistrate's attention, so they changed into ordinary dresses and came with ordinary wagons, without showing anything about their real identities. The effort was totally worth the while. They spent 1 night at the hotel as they arrived at the county, and the following morning they headed towards the village. But they again ran into Widow Sun the moment they came to the village. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference. as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.